Hello everybody and welcome to Enter the Gungeon, every single item in the game tier list. For those of you that haven't seen it, I already did a guns tier list around a week ago. You can find that on my channel where I rank every single gun in the game and use the same format. This is now the follow-up to this with the items in the game. A few of you suggested maybe splitting the passives and actives into two different lists, but I thought as they both appear in the same chest, they both appear in your item chest of each floor, they should be ranked against each other and then on their merit based on that. And so I'm doing this all as one video. It is going to be a fairly long video. I'm expecting around 2 hours, maybe a little more. The guns one was around 2 hours. So we'll see how that goes. Just so you guys know, those of you that aren't regulars on my channel, I have around 1,300 hours in Enter the Gungeon. I've completed it 3 times over. I've played it on PC. I've played it on console. And I'm currently in the middle of playing through my 4th playthrough of the game, trying to get 100% yet again. And yeah, so I think I'm well experienced with the game. I know a decent amount about it. I've used probably every item in the game at least 10 times or more. So I've got good experience with pretty much every item in the game. So here's our tiers here. We have F, which is pure trash. Going to be the worst of the worst items. Literally never touch them. We've got D, which is bad. Like, they're going to have some very, very small situations in which they can be used in, like very unique situations. But for the most part, they're not going to be that useful. We've got just okay, which is like, you're going to be happy to have it, but it's not going to win you the run. It's not going to hinder you. It's just going to be a nice little help. It's going to be okay. Good is going to be outright. It's going to be like you're going to want to have it. You see it. You're excited to have it. But it's, again, not going to win you the run. But it is still going to be something that you're happy to have. A huge help is something that can really, really aid you in beating the run. So basically an item that, let's think of a good example of that. Something like the big boy is probably going to be in huge help because it's not outright going to win you the run, but it's a very good item. We might not be in that tier, but we'll get to it. And then got S tier, which is of course the run winning items which can carry you on their own. Items which, if you get them, you are pretty much guaranteed to win as long as you're not a complete new player to the game. The way I'm going to be ranking items isn't actually within their in-game tiers. So, for example, a D tier item could end up being an S tier. It's not going to be super likely that many will do that, but they are going to transcend their in-game tiers. I'm going to be taking many things into account, like how common the item is, how useful it is, also, like, maybe even taking into account how much it sells for in some situations, maybe. There's going to be quite a few different scenarios and different reasons that I'm going to be ranking things. I mean, synergies might work into there a little bit as well. But for the most part, it's going to be based on the item's own merit. But yeah, I think we'll get into this. Got a bit of music in the background, like I said. Set of links is going to be a rather long video. For those of you that are new to this channel and new to this video, I do have a Discord as well that I'll link in the description. You can go and check that out, and there's going to be other like-minded Gungeon players and other people from my channel. And those of you, again, that haven't seen much of my other content, I play Gungeon on this channel a lot, along with, like, Isaac and other things like that, so please do check it out, and like and subscribe if you enjoy the video sort of stuff. But yeah, we'll get into this. First up, we've got gun boots, which, honestly, I don't like. I think they're pretty bad. I'm going to put them in bad. I believe they are C tier, meaning they come out of blue chests. So it's not like they're right at the bottom, not like they're D tier in game. But basically, the way they work is obvious. You roll and they fire some shots behind you. The shots are okay damage, but it's really hard to gain effectiveness off them. And it does have a relatively long cooldown, unless you have the boots that let you roll twice. Then you can actually fire it constantly, which makes them a little bit better. But I'm not going to rank it on the basis of that synergy, because that synergy isn't very common. And it does give you a slight speed boost, but I think for the most part, these don't really help on an average run. You get them, and they are just there. They don't really help at all, but they're not pure trash because they do have some very specific scenarios in which they can be very useful, like with remote bullets, for example. Next up, we've got Gungeoneers Strain. This is an S tier item. I'm going to put it in huge help because it's not quite a run winner, because I don't think this on its own can win you a run. You can't get this item and just win with a pistol. I mean, you technically could, but it's not going to be the easiest way. But it does reduce the health of every enemy in the game, including bosses. A lot of people don't know that. It reduces bosses' HP as well, making it very, very, very good. So that's going in A for huge help. It's not quite good enough to be a run winner, but it is an S tier item, so I'm going to put it in the A tier, huge help. Next, we've got the Gungeon Blueprint. I'm going to put that in good. I think It's an S tier item, so it's not very common at all, you rarely find it, but it gives you the map to every single floor for the rest of the game. The reason it's not a huge help and it's going in good is because its usefulness is entirely reliant on when you get it. If you get it on the first floor, it can be a run winner, it can be a huge help. But if you get it on the last floor, it's going to help you still, because it's going to help you navigate your way through bullet hell for sure. But if you get it on the forge, it's not going to be that helpful. I really think that items that are reliant on when you get them can't be ranked too high, so that's going to go in good. In the B tier. Next up, we've got the Gungeon Pepper, which I believe again is a C tier item. This does damage to enemies in a radius around you, and honestly, the damage is very, very low. It can be nice to deal with some of the annoying enemies, like the little spent zombie beanbag looking little things. It can be quite useful with them little guys, and it can be useful with the bloodbulons that take X amount of shots to explode. It can be nice with them, but I think for the most part I'm going to put that in bad yet again, simply because it is difficult to get a lot of usefulness out of the Gungeon Pepper. I do think it's one of those things where it helps a bit, but it's rarely going to make your run that much better. Next up, we've got the Gun Knight armors, and I'm going to put all three of them in good. Every single one of these is going in good because it gives you a piece of armor per floor. I believe the Greaves gives you 2 armor as soon as you pick them up. Of course, if you get all 4, you get the Gun Knight set, which is the best synergy in the game, but it's incredibly rare. But again, these items are reliant on when you get them. The earlier you get them, the better they perform. And all of them do the exact same thing. They give you 1 armor per floor. When you go down to a new floor, it gives you 1 armor. Very, very nice to have, but entirely reliant on when you get them. So they're going in good. They definitely can't be just okay, because having armor is lovely. Getting health per floor is really nice. It really helps you out. Next up, we've got the Hazmat Suit. Again, that's going in good. It gives you immunity to every single status effect in the game. Of course, that's brilliant. It is actually a B tier item in-game as well, so that kind of makes it fitting for its tier as well. But yeah, basically having immunity to every status effect in the game, it's about as effective as having flight, which only a few items in the game give, and it really negates some of the harder challenges of some of the traps in the game, as well as some of the bosses too. There is some bosses that can really screw you over with fire effects and things like that. And it also gives you the ability to use some weapons, such as the fossilized gun, without as much risk or fear of hurting yourself. Like the trash cannon. That's another one that's a good example. But yeah, it just gives you a little bit more leeway with some guns, some bosses, and some trap rooms, and I think it's just a nice help. Next up, we've got all of the heart purses. I'm going to just skip out on this one here and do the heart purses first. So all the heart purses are going in just okay. Apart from this one. Actually, I was going to say apart from this one, which might go... No, this will go in just okay as well. So all of these can be found on the same tier, apart from Heart of Ice. Heart of Ice can also be found in S tier chests, which makes it worse, definitely. It's very annoying to find the Heart of Ice, but it does have an additional effect of firing out little icicles, and it does synergize with a lot of items, and it's really good. But otherwise, all of these can appear in basically every tier apart from D. So this is B, C, and A, B, C, 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 A, S. And honestly, HP, it's nice to get, but if you're an experienced player, you shouldn't need any extra HP other than the flawlesses you get from bosses. So therefore, it's just okay. It's nice for new players, but in general, if I get this out of a chest, I'm relatively disappointed. I'd much rather have a more effective passive item. Next, we got antibodies. Whenever you heal, there is a chance to heal for double. Picking up a half heart can give you 1 full heart. Picking up a full heart can give you 2 full hearts. This is another one. I'm going to say it's just okay, mainly because with this, it's kind of difficult to get real use out of it, because you've got a few conditions in which you need to fulfill, and you've got to say as well, this is a B tier item, but you've got a few conditions that you have to fill for this to be useful. For 1, you need to have it, obviously. For 2, you need to be missing HP. And for 3, you need to find HP to pick up. And then you've got the smaller chance of that HP actually affecting for double, which I think is just too much RNG for this item to be considered. In specific situations, it can be very, very nice, but honestly, if you're losing a lot of red health, the random chance to heal for double isn't going to be super great, so that's going in just okay. Next up, we've got Heart Synthesizer. Heart Synthesizer is another one that's going in just okay. It randomly, I believe this is A tier, by the way, it randomly, well, I say randomly, it's technically not random. After clearing so many rooms, I think it is, it's got like a certain % chance to give you a heart back. I think you have to not get hit as well, which adds like a clear condition to that, and I think that in itself makes it kind of difficult to gain effectiveness of, and it's like, yet again, another one of those items that you need to be missing HP for it to be useful, and at least in my opinion, some of the higher tier players, on the earlier floors especially, you get no use out of it. It's definitely good for the later floors, but I believe the fact that it's got that specific use case scenario means that it's going to be thrown down a little bit in tiers. If it was the sort of thing where you were getting hit a lot more often, then yeah, I'd probably put it into good, but I think for the average player, it's just okay. It's nice to have, but it does come from an A tier chest. There's definitely things you'd rather have than that, and yeah, I'm just going to say it's okay. This, I'm going to put as pure trash. The heavy boots, basically, you receive no knockback from any effects of your guns or any enemies or anything like that. That may seem useful, it's really not. There is, like, I think maybe 2 specific scenarios in which the heavy boots are good. One of those is Alien Engine. That makes it really, really good. Otherwise, it's pretty bad. And yeah, unfortunately, I think it's not very good. One thing you can do with heavy boots, by the way, if you're playing as the Bullet, you have contact immunity, or if you're playing with any other character that you gain an item that gives you contact immunity, like the blast helmet or things like that, I think that gives contact immunity, you can actually, on the third phase of the Lich, when he does the attack where he spins around in a line up and down, if you stand right in the middle and he hits you into the path, the Lich actually bugs out and can't get past you because he can't knock you away, and because he deals no contact damage, he doesn't pass through you, he doesn't activate your iframes, and basically you can completely bust the fight and just sit there and shoot at him and instantly kill him. Very, very useful in that very specific scenario, but on the average, getting this even out of a D tier chest is pretty disappointing. Most of the time you really don't want it. Next up, we have heavy bullets. I think heavy bullets, we're going to put in just okay. So this does increase your damage, which is nice. By the way, I'm going to try my best. To organize these as I go. But it is going to be difficult for me. So do sort of forgive me for that, because last time I ended up kind of messing it up a little bit. But either way, we'll carry on. So, as I was saying, heavy bullets, it is nice because it gives a damage up. I believe it's a 15 or 20% damage up, but it does vastly reduce your bullet's speed. With some guns, that is a positive. With the vast majority, it is a negative. And so, again, it's only a C tier item, but I would put that in just okay. Most of the time, I'm happy to have it, but the reduced bullet speed can be rather annoying. Helix bullets, I'm going to put in good. I'm going to put at the higher tier of good as well. Increases the amount of shots you fire to 2, and they fire in a helix pattern. Pretty useful. It does make some guns fairly hard to hit, but at least in my experience, most of the time it's relatively easy to hit both bullets because they have a path at which they cross. So most of the time it's pretty easy to hit both bullets, and it's straight up a damage increase. More bullets hitting, it's just a damage increase. I think it's good. I don't think it's a huge help because sometimes you do miss that second bullet and technically get a damage reduction, and some guns it does make a lot harder to use, but for a B tier item, it's going up high on the B tier of good. Next up, we've got Hip Holster. Hip Holster, again, is going in good. This is a very, very useful item for a lot of guns in the game. Now, Hip Holster, whenever you reload, it fires a shot from your weapon. This works with any magazine size in the game. Now, most of you know, there's a lot of items in this game that have very low clip sizes, like 5 or lower. It really, really, really shines on guns that have 1 clip size, like the Sling, the RC Rocket, the Stinger, and there's just too many guns in the game that work really well with Hip Holster for it to go any lower. Now, it is a B tier item, but I think that means it fits perfectly into good. If you get it and you don't get any low clip capacity guns, then yes, it can be pretty much trash. Like, honestly, it can be trash, but the chance of you getting at least one gun, normally a boss killer, of which it works extremely well with, is usually pretty high. It normally happens at least once a run when you get hit Polster. So I'm going to put it in good, and I think that's a pretty good place for it. Next up, we got the Armor of Thorns. Armor of Thorns gives you 1 armor, means that your roll does more damage, and I believe it gives you contact immunity as well. We're going to put that in just okay. I think the armor is nice, but the contact immunity and roll damage usually isn't too useful. You normally don't get too much out of it. So for now, that's going to go in just okay. I do believe that is a B tier item as well. Do bear in mind, I'm not going to say the name of, the tier of every single item. But if I do remember and it is really relevant to the item's ranking, then I will mention it. Next up, we got Holy Grail, run winner, easy. It's a D tier item. I mean, its unlock is fairly hard. You have to beat the Advanced Dragon to unlock this. But we're not taking into account any unlock methods. That's got nothing to do with how powerful the item is. Holy Grail is a run winner through and through. It's a D tier item, like I said, and if you get hit, you restore half of all of your ammo in every single gun you have. So just 2 hits can fully replenish every gun you have. And think about that. That means if you come up to a shop and there is a full heart for 40 or a piece of ammo for 40, you could fill 1 gun for the same price that you could fill every gun. And it's so good. And some people say, oh, well, you have to get hit to make it work. It's like, yes, but 2 hits to refill every single... It's literally infinite ammo, because the thing is, you are going to get hit randomly anyways, so yeah, it's literally infinite ammo for everything you have. Now, I get confused all the time on whether this is angry bullets or homing bullets, so let's have a little look-see. And make sure, by the way, these images have been scaled up to HD. It took me forever to do that, so hopefully you guys appreciate that. I will leave this tier list for you guys to sort out. That's angry bullets, so this is homing. I will leave you guys to make this own tier list for yourself, and I'm also going to try and leave a download link to all of the HD images at some point, or at least on my Discord, and give you guys a way to download all the images for whatever use you want, because obviously they don't exist yet. No one's made the HD images from what I know of. Either way, this is homing bullets. Homing bullets is good. I'm going to put it into good. It's definitely the lower tier of good because it doesn't happen too often, but when it does happen, it is rather nice. Again, I do believe this is a B tier item. We've got a lot of B tier items in the B tier, but yes, I do believe that homing bullets is quite nice. With certain guns, it works better than others, but normally it's just one of those things that helps out passively, and you don't really notice it, but it usually makes you a little more accurate and helps some guns be a little bit better. Next up, we got this hive thing. This comes out of a B tier chest, C tier chest. It's garbage. When you get hit, you throw out some bees. No. I do not like effects like that cause you to get hit. Holy Grail's a different story because the effect's amazing, but getting hit just for a few bees, basically killing 1 enemy, it's just not worth it at all. That's pure trash. Don't touch it. It's crap. Next up, we got Hot Lead. Hot Lead is another one I'm putting in good. A lot of bullet effects are going to be in good, by the way. A lot of bullet effects are going to be in good. That's going to go probably here. I think Hot Lead, actually, we'll put that in front of there. I think Hot Lead's pretty good. Basically, gives you the chance to set enemies on fire with your bullets. The fire does decent damage, and normally the effect is pretty consistent. You get it quite a lot, and with explosive weapons, it actually lays a pool of fire on the floor. Now, that can sometimes be a hindrance, but most of the time, it's actually quite useful considering the pool is small. It really depends on what gun you have and how many explosions there are. Next up, we have Hungry Bullets. Hungry Bullets is going in huge help. Hungry Bullets is an A tier item, I believe, but it's incredibly good with shotguns. Anything that fires a lot of bullets or a spread of bullets, like a shotgun or a MAC-10, anything that fires a lot of bullets, this will have a chance of one of its bullets being purple and eating all enemies' incoming shots. Now, this has to be one of the most effective bullet modifiers on bosses. It makes you incredibly safe and incredibly hard to hit. I mean, on normal enemies, it's not as good, but it's very, very effective on bosses. Now, I do say it has a caveat of not working well with all guns. It needs to be guns that fires a lot of shots or a wide spread of shots, but that's why it's in huge help and not run winner. Either way, I do think this is going to be a huge help to any run. Next up, we got the I-Bomb Companion app. This is probably one of the trashiest items in the game. It's really, really, really bad. I believe this is again C tier. Using it as an active item, for one, takes up an active item slot, so that immediately is one downside. 2, all it does is it explodes enemies. Like, you activate it and any explosive enemy, it triggers them. or any explosive in the room, it triggers it. That's not useful in 99% of scenarios in this game. Now, it can be used on the Mind Flyer to destroy all of his little claymore guys, but other than that, it has very, very little usage, and it's not very good. I do say it does work well with the Ring of Triggers, but that's another incredibly specific scenario that you're not going to get too often, so we're going to put that in pure trash. Next up, we got Ice Bomb. Ice Bomb I'm going to put in bad. It's a D tier. It doesn't work like the regular bomb, so you cannot open secret rooms with it, which is a massive downside. I don't know why that's a thing. It does freeze enemies, but its damage is low, and its charge time, it's a little too slow to be ranked any higher, so we're going to put that in bad. Next up, we've got the Ice Cube. The Ice Cube makes it so that you can charge active items while they're being used. So, for example, if you get Potion of Lead Skin, you can activate it, be invincible, and then be shooting, killing enemies, and recharging it while it's active. Very, very useful, and it gives you 3 coolness as well. So, even if you don't get any active item to use with it, or any active item that works with it, you're still getting a pretty big benefit, and I think it's very, very good. Next up, we got the Iron Coin. Now, I used to say this was pure trash. I used to say this was really good, really bad, sorry. Now I'm saying it's just okay. It does, again, come from a C tier chest, but this one, unfortunately, does take up an active item slot. It gives you 3 coins, of which can clear 1 room each, but it gives you a 25% shop discount if you're holding on to it. That alone, if you don't have another active item to switch out to, is a very, very useful effect, and honestly, most of the time is going to be worth holding on to if you don't have another active item. Its actual effect when you use the coins, in my opinion, is pretty useless, but just having that shop discount is really nice. Next up, we've got Irradiated Lead, which is going to go right next to Hot Lead. Almost exactly the same effect, just the poison version. Not much else I can say about it. Chance to poison, it's good, there you go. Next up, we got Armor Synthesizer. Now, Armor Synthesizer is definitely going higher up than Heart Synthesizer, mainly because Armor can be synthesized while you have armor already, whereas health can't be synthesized if you're at full health. And you can keep getting armor, and honestly, the chance of it happening is pretty good. This is, again, an A tier item, so not the best thing you can get from an A tier chest, but definitely a respected item. I do quite like it. If I get it, I'm never disappointed, whereas Heart Synthesizer, much more disappointed, as it can just result in not really doing anything for you. But there you go. Got Armor Synthesizer, put that in there. Next up, we got the Jarabees. Again, Jarabees as an active item, C tier. It's really bad. I don't like it at all. It throws some bees out. It kills like 1 enemy, maybe 2 if you're lucky. It's not that good. It's like if you threw the Stinger, if you spent 1 ammo of the Stinger, but it took up an active item slot, and you didn't get the explosive damage of the missile. It's like, why would you want that? Why would anyone take up an active item slot? Next up, we've got the Jetpack. I'm going to put that in bad. I personally quite like it, but I am thinking on an average of every player in the game, it's going in bad. It basically, when you activate it, it allows you to move at a much higher speed. It gives you flight, but you cannot roll. And in my opinion, most of the time, that is terrible, especially if you forget it's on during bosses, or if you deactivate it to try and roll, but you're accidentally slightly above a gap and you fall into a gap. It causes too many problems, and it's just a difficult item to use. Next up, we've got our boy, our bestest lad, our little junky, Mr. Junkin. Now, this is a really hard choice, because in some situations, it can be a run winner. In some situations, it can be a huge help. In some situations, it can be good. In some situations, it can be just okay. In some situations, it can be bad. And in some situations, it can be pure trash. Literally. So, this is really hard to rank. I am going to rank it in just okay. My reasoning for that is, if you get him to max level, yes, he is a run winner. But, destroying a chest only has a chance to give you junk, and destroying a chest means you don't get the item. If you don't get enough junk, but you destroy all of your chests, you end up vastly underpowered, and that can really screw you over. Got another thing as well. You can get him way too late into a run, to the point where it is impossible to rank him up to max rank, and that becomes very difficult. So, in an ideal scenario, when you get him on floor 1 or 2, yes, he is brilliant, he is the bestest of boys, everybody loves him, but there's too many scenarios in which Junkin isn't really going to pay off, which is sad to say, and he is my little boy, look at his little cute face, but it has to be said. Next up, we've got this, the Katana Bullets. That's going in just okay as well. Gives you 1 curse, which is annoying. It's a B tier item. Whenever you kill an enemy, a flurry of knives come out the back and kill anything behind it. It's good. It's very hard to line up. Normally, you don't get many kills off of this, and it only triggers on death, not on hit. If it triggered on hit, it'd definitely be better. But yeah, that's going in just okay. Next up, we've got the Knife Shield. Knife Shield, huge help. Not gonna lie, Knife Shield is low-key a brilliant active item. It's a D tier, which means it's very easy to come across. It does increase your curse by 1, which is of course a slight downside, but it has 2 effects. One of them, when you activate it, surrounds you in knives. The second one, if you press active while the knives are out, it throws the knives and deal damage. That second part, pretty much useless. If that's all it did, it's terrible. But the knives block projectiles, and if you can get a little bit of coolness, just a little bit of coolness, you can use it multiple times before the previous knives are gone, meaning you can stack up a shield of what is effectively glass stones and just block a lot on a lot of projectiles. It makes it an incredibly useful active item to have. Very, very good indeed. Next up, we've got Lamet Configurum. Lamet Configurum is going to go in just okay. Well, no, sorry, not just okay, good. Lamet Configurum, again, increases your curse to hold it, and the way that this works is, on use, it spawns some enemies from the floor of bullet hell. You have to kill those enemies. It sometimes drops a weapon, it sometimes hurts you. There's a bunch of different effects, but what I found out recently is the amount of uses actually correlates to when you get items. You always get an item on the 2nd use, 5th use, and then I think it's like 8th use and so on. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's actually got a pattern to it, and you can find that out over on the wiki. But basically, in my opinion, if you can, it's always worth using this up to the 5th use and getting your 2 item chances. Now, those items can be B tier, A tier, or S tier, and they do give you curse when you pick them up, but you can get some great items. I mean, you guys might have seen in an episode not that long ago, I got Gunther. On my first, like my second pull of this, and my first item, I got Gunther. My god, what a treat. What an absolute treat. So I think Lamet Configurum goes up pretty high. It can be a really fun item to use and get you some really cool shit. It can hurt you, however, which means it goes down a little bit lower, and obviously it does take up an active item slot, so a little bit lower. Next up, we've got the Laser Sight. Laser Sight is a pretty decent accuracy upgrade. Now, I'm going to put it on the lower end of good, because there is better accuracy upgrades out there, but it does give you the laser pointer as well, which does kind of help. It helps more on PC than it does on console, but it's nice to have nonetheless. Comes out of a B tier chest as well, I believe, so kind of fits in nicely there. I do apologise, by the way, if I get any item tiers wrong. I'm trying my hardest based completely off memory. I will maybe get my phone and look at the wiki if there's someone, like one of the items that I really don't remember. But for the most part, I think I've got most of them down. Next up, Litchi Eye Bullets, another S tier. That's actually going to go in front of Holy Grail. Obviously, one of the best items in the game. Every single gun you have now has all of its synergies. That's just too powerful. It's so good. It makes basically every item in the game 20 times better. It's most of the items have 2 or 3 brilliant synergies, and you get all of them. It makes weapons so much better. Next up, we've got Litchi Triggerfinger. That's going to go on the high end of good. It is a D tier item, but it increases your fire rate by 25%. With a lot of weapons, fire rate is amazing, so that's going at the higher end of good, especially considering it's from a D tier chest. Next up, we've got Liquid Valkyrie. Liquid Valkyrie slows down enemy bullets. I'm going to put that in the higher end of good. I was going to put it in huge help, but we've got one caveat with both this. There's another one that does the same effect. We've got a little caveat with this, because there's an oddity with it. You've got to remember that Gungeon is all about pattern recognition and like sort of muscle memory and learning how things work. This can really throw that off, because if the bullets of the bosses and certain enemies are slower than they are normally, you may react just a little bit too fast, thinking the bullet's coming at you quicker, and actually get hit because of that. Now, that's not so to say that's always going to happen, but that is something to think about. It does slightly throw off your muscle memory. Otherwise, I would say it's a huge help, but for me at least, I find that sometimes I end up getting hit because I've got it, which is a little bit of a shame, but most of the time it's a pretty big help. Next up, we've got Baby Good Mimic. Baby Good Mimic is good. He's going to be on the lower tier of good. I'm going to put him, like, here. Actually, I'm going to put him here. Baby Good Mimic, on his own, if he doesn't take over any other He's very good. He fires out little explosives and it does decent damage, and for a B tier item, I quite like him. But his real help is if you have a good familiar, like you have Space Friend, or you have Junkin, or you have R2-G2, anything, any companion you can have, he will transform into a copy version. Now, it does depend on what familiars you have to how good he is, but on average, he's pretty good, and normally you want to have him. Next up, we've got the Lodestone Amulet, I believe this is. I believe this just makes blanks deal more knockback. Wait, is this Lodestone? Is this Lodestone? We've got a lot of amulets in here. Let's check this out. Amulets look very similar, so it's very difficult to rank them properly. I'm not seeing any of the other amulets at all in here, which is kind of a shame. Okay, so that's gold, that's copper, that's chaos. I believe this is the Lodestone, that's uranium. Yeah, I believe this is Lodestone. So this is the Lodestone Amulet. Increases knockback on your blanks. Pretty much a terrible effect, but we're going to put it on the higher end of good, because it increases the amount of blanks you get per floor by 1, up to 3, which is very, very nice. And that effect of giving you more blanks per floor stacks with other amulets, which is very, very nice indeed. Next up, we've got the loot bag. Pure trash. I hate this thing. Episode 70. Makes me cry. No, it's not really. I had a really traumatic experience with this item. If you haven't seen it, go and look at my Advanced Dungeons & Dragons series, episode 70. There is the worst death I have ever had, caused entirely by my greed and loot bag. So, yeah, go check that out. It's pretty funny. But this, I'm going to put in the lower end of good. I think that it's pretty decent. Again, I believe it is B tier, and like I said, a lot of B tiers in B tier. This is alright. So the way that it works is, for one, it increases your chance of finding the other payday items. It increases the amount of money you get from enemies, but every time you get hit, you lose money. So this all comes down to how often you get hit. And especially on boss fights, if you're getting hit, it really, really sucks and uses a lot of your money. But the increased income normally outweighs the loss in money from getting hit, so normally it is a good item to have, and I quite like it. Next up, we've got Macho Brace. In my opinion, it's pure trash. When you roll, for a short time after rolling, you glow, and while you're glowing, any shot that you fire, just one shot, does 30% more damage. Now, in my opinion, considering this comes out of a B tier chest, that's garbage, because not only do you have a very short period of time after rolling to get off the shot, not only does it only actually affect one shot, but you have to roll. It's just, and it's only 30%. Make it 100% more damage. Make it do double damage after a roll. It's one bullet. Just come on, be good. Like, it's too difficult to activate reliably, and the payoff is too small. I believe it's pure trash. Next up, we've got the magazine rack. Magazine rack. This is a hard one because it depends. If we're counting glitches in the game, this is a very, very good item. This is almost a run winner. There is a bug with the magazine rack where if you activate it at the right time when a boss is about to die, whatever gun you are holding gains infinite ammo for the rest of the run, as long as you don't swap from it. So, can be very, very good if you use that glitch. If we're ranking it on its own merit, it gives you infinite ammo inside of a small radius for a decent amount of time. We're going to put it in just okay, because I'm not going to rank it on the glitch. I think that the radius is a little too small, especially for boss fights, which is almost always going to be the main use. It does have some pretty big value, put it there, yeah, there. It does have some pretty big value when you're playing Winchester's game, because it gives you infinite shots during Winchester's, meaning it's very, very, very easy to win his challenge. But normally not that useful. The radius just isn't quite big enough to make it easy to use in the main scenario you'd want to use it in, so not that great. Next up, we've got magic bullets. Magic bullets is going in good. We're going to put that like here. Yeah, here. So this basically gives all of your bullets the chance to transmogrify enemies into chickens. Now that can be quite good depending on the weapon that you're using. Faster firing, the higher chance to transmogrify, and it also depends on what you transmogrify. If you're transmogrifying a lead maiden in one shot, booyah. You've hit the jackpot, baby. But if you're transmogrifying a bullet kid into a chicken on the last bullet before he was about to die, it's worthless. So it really is up in the air. Most of the time, it is a nice help to have just in the background. Sometimes transmogrifying enemies, but most of the time, not going to be that helpful. Next up, we've got the rare sweet. I'm going to put that all the way in huge help. Does a massive stats boost to everything pretty much. I think it gives you like 20% fire rate. It gives you a bit faster movement speed. I think it gives you a bit better roll distance, which I don't personally like, but it comes with everything else. And it gives you a health upgrade. Normally a pretty huge help. For an A tier item, it definitely belongs in A tier. Next up, we've got the map. Map is going in bad. It has some very key scenarios in which it's useful if you really need to find a secret room or things like that. Most of the time, you don't want to buy it though. You only want to get it if it drops from a chest or a mini-boss or something. And it does have one very specific scenario to use it in. If you have the Origami, it makes the Origami into a very good gun with one of its synergies. And honestly, the chance of you finding a map while you have the Origami, like in a shop or something, is kind of high, so it's not quite pure trash, but it is pretty bad. Next up, we've got the Master of Unlocking. Master of Unlocking is going to be on the higher tier of good. Basically, when you complete rooms, there's a chance you will get a key the same way you would with our armor synthesizer. Now, this again is another one that's situational. If you get it late in the run, it can usually be pretty bad, but if you get it early enough, it's a very big help and normally sorts out your key situation to the point where you really don't need to worry about buying keys for the rest of the run. You're normally generating at least 1 to 2 keys per floor, which is normally enough to sort you out, and sometimes even more than that. So for the most part, for a, I believe B tier item, it's pretty high up there in the B tier. Next up, we got Meat Bun. Meat Bun's a weird one. It's a D tier active item. On use, it heals you for 1, but after using it, you get double damage until you next take damage. Now, for me, personally, I would probably put that on huge help, because normally, when I've got Meat Bun, I can last at least a few floors with the double damage, but it depends on who you are, and it depends on your experience in the game. I have had once, but only once, a first floor Meat Bun, no hit run. So I had double damage for the entire run. It was brilliant. It was so good. But I can't rank my experience with it on just that, and I've got to think that not everyone's going to be able to keep the Meat Bun effect stacked for that long, so we're going to put it up in good, put it like midway in good, because it does have a caveat of having to not get hit, but even as just a D tier active item, it heals you for 1, and you're going to get double damage for at least a little bit, maybe even just 1 boss. It's still nice to have. So there. Next up, we've got the medkit. Run winner, easy. I don't know about you guys, but the fact that it's fucking C tier and it heals you for 4 full hearts, 4 full hearts. It heals you through 8 instances of damage. You carry that with you, and there's a pretty damn good chance that you're going to win, because as soon as you're 4 hearts down, doesn't matter how many hearts you have, as soon as you're 4 hearts down, you use it and you're back up to basically full health. Brilliant. It's going to help you in every single run you play. If you get it, hold on to it, make sure to keep it. There is not many active items that I would rather have than the medkit when I'm playing it safe. I mean, I do tend to play more risky because I know that I don't need the medkit to win sometimes. I know that if I've got a fun active item, I'll keep it. But if you're a person that struggles, or you're a person that isn't quite at that level of confidence yet, then the medkit's a run winner. It's easy. It's a run winner. Anything that heals you for that amount, top tier. Next up, we got the Skelly Boy, trash tier. Sorry, boy. Baby good Skelly, you are trash. It is an S tier item, and it does less damage than basically every other familiar in the entire game. He's relatively slow. His beam doesn't even lock on. It just sways back and forward. He's trash. I don't like him. I do not understand why he's S tier at all. In my opinion, he should be B tier at the most. He's not very good at all. Next up, we've got Melted Rock, another pure trash item. Comes out of C tier chests, and when you use it, it explodes enemy corpses. Almost never gets you any kills, and usually just sits in your active slot doing absolutely nothing, so not that good. Next up, we've got Metronome. Metronome is actually going at the worser end of just okay. The way that this works is when you have it, for every kill you get with a gun, it increases that gun's damage up to 2.5 times. So a very, very hefty increase in damage. But if you pick up any other gun, it switches your metronome bonus to the other gun. If you run out of ammo and have to switch weapon manually, or you switch weapon manually for any other reason, you lose the bonus. And if you get hit, you also lose the bonus. In my opinion, that makes it a pretty bad item, really, because you really get no variety in your run whatsoever, and it really doesn't help much at all. Sorry about that, the door just slammed there, my girlfriend's just got in. But there you go, so metronome, in my opinion, pretty bad, just okay. Next up, we've got the military training, which is the starting item of the Marine. It increases reload speeds and increases accuracy a bit. I don't think it increases fire rate. I think it's just them two. This is, again, just okay. The bonus is negligible. It's all right. I believe this is C tier as well, but yeah, it's okay. Next up, we've got the Mimic Tooth Necklace. This is going in S tier easily. It removes the need to use keys on any chest in the game because it makes all chests mimics. It makes all item pedestals mimics from bosses, meaning that every single item pedestal drops an item along with the item that was on the pedestal, meaning you can get double items from every single boss, which is just great. Before the Fails Arms update, that didn't happen, but after it, yep, brilliant. Definitely an S tier run-winning item. It pretty much increases the item haul that you get over the course of the whole run by a whole heck of a lot, so I think it's very, very good. Next up, we've got the Molotov, pure trash. It lays a little bit of fire. There are plenty of other items in the game that do the exact same thing. Much easier, much cheaper, without taking up your active item slot. Not very good at all. Next up, we've got the Monster Blood. Monster Blood is going in good over the other heart upgrades, because not only does it give you a heart upgrade, but it makes you immune to poison. I'm actually going to put it in front of these guys. It makes you immune to poison, and it also lays a massive pool of poison upon getting hit, which is quite nice. Helps out, kills some enemies. But yeah, very, very good. I like Monster Blood a lot. Next up, we've got Muscle Relaxant, which is the most powerful, most affecting accuracy upgrade in the game. So that's going to go pretty high up there. As I said, it's a lot stronger than the laser rifle. I don't know how much exactly the accuracy upgrade is, but it is hefty. It is a really strong accuracy upgrade, and most of the time it's pretty good getting. And it actually has a synergy with all sniper rifle type items in the game, like the M1, the sniper rifle, and a few others called Diazepam, which increases their damage by 50%. Normally, when you get Muscle Relaxant, there's a decent chance you might get one of those sniper synergies. Very good. Very useful. I think for the most part, you're going to have a good time anytime you get this. Next up, we've got the Mustache. It's trash tier. Pure trash. You get it out of, I think, C tier chests. When you buy, you have a chance to heal for a half heart. It's only a fucking chance. It's only a half heart, and you have to spend money. It's just terrible. In my opinion, it's really bad. Next up, we've got Nano Machines. So Nano Machines is so close to a huge help, but we're going to put it at the higher end of good. Basically, what this does is, on pickup, it gives you 2 armor, and every 4 hits you take, you gain an armor. So basically, every 4 hits you take turns into 3 hits, which in my opinion is very good. Also, the armor is going to do a blank effect when you lose it, meaning it can synergize with amulets, and it's going to blank the screen. It's going to help on bosses. Just very useful in my opinion, just technically gives you more HP. Next up, we've got the Napalm Strike. Pure trash. It's in the B tier of items in game, and honestly, obviously takes up an active item slot. It lays some fire on the ground, and that's it. It's like a Molotov that's a little bit bigger radius and higher tier. It's just bad. Next up, we've got the Backpack. Backpack is going in huge help. Maybe surprising, but for a D tier item, it gives you 2 active item slots. That's very useful, because you could carry something like the med kit that's going to save your life, but also carry the knife shield or the big boy or something else that's going to really help you out throughout the course of the run. Or you can even carry 2 items that give you a massive health boost. So very useful for the most part. Definitely going in huge help considering it's a DT item in game. Next up, we've got number 2. This is an item that can only appear in A tier chests and is also one of the starting items of the cultist. I think this is pretty good. Again, it's going to be a huge help. It gives you a 35% damage increase and I think it's like a 25% movement speed increase. It's really useful for that. Just the 35% damage increase flat is very nice indeed. Huge help by far. Probably going to put that like here, I think. Yeah, probably about there. Next up, we've got Oil Cylinder. Oil Cylinder is, again, going to go all the way near the top on good. Basically, Oil Cylinder, going to increase your reload speeds by 50%. That's incredible. It's very useful. For the most part, that is going to make most of your runs better and most of your guns better, especially single ammo launchers, things like that, like RC Rocket, like the Stinger. Always going to help with them. Next, you've got the Old Knight's Flask. Old Knight's Flask is again going in huge help. This is an active item that gets 2 charges per floor, and it heals you for 1 full heart per charge. So every single floor you play, you have 4 free hits of damage. That's insane. That's really powerful. Really good. That's basically, like, in 2 floors you get the effectiveness of a medkit. It's really good. It does come from an A tier chest, but it is worthy of A tier. It's very worthy of A tier. So we're going to put that, I think, Probably here, yeah. Probably going to put that there. Next up, we've got Omega Bullets. The last bullet in your magazine deals extra damage. We're going to put it in the lower tier of good. It works really well with low ammo capacity, magazine capacity, sorry, weapons. But for the most part, you don't really notice the bonus too much, especially with weapons which are already weak. It usually isn't that good. Next up, we've got Orange Guanstone. Orange Guanstone, a B tier item. I'm going to put that in bad. It fires out a little shot that does a tiny bit of damage. Now, it does orbit you and block bullets, which is nice, but it is not that good. Next up, we've got the orange. This is going in S tier, and it's going, in fact, above the medkit. If you don't know what the orange does, it fully heals you. It gives you 1 coolness. By the way, this is an active item. So on use, it fully heals you, gives you 1 coolness, and it gives you 1 heart container that is immediately filled. So, brilliant. Again, a run winner. You can get down to half a heart, then use it. You're back up to full health, no matter how much you were on, and you actually end up having more health than you had when you used it. So, it's really, really good. Always a run winner, in my opinion. Next up, we've got Orbital Bullets. This is such a fun item, but only works well with some items. Works pretty well with beam weapons and things like that. Usually keeps riffraff from hitting you in the back, because you've normally got quite a lot of bullets orbiting you. We're going to put it in just okay, though. Definitely the higher end of just okay, because it doesn't technically increase your damage by too much, and it doesn't work very well with some guns. I'm going to take a sip of my Coke here. Sorry about that. I got myself in for the long haul here, so I'm prepped. Next up, we've got the Owl. Owl is an S tier familiar that does a short range blank effect. Can definitely save your life a lot, so I'm going to put it at the very high end of good, but it's not quite huge help because it is S tier, so it's harder to get. The blank effect is random, so, I mean, it only happens when there's bullets incoming, it doesn't happen when there's none, but like it has sort of a cooldown to it, and you don't always know when it's going to happen. Makes it hard to always be the thing that saves your life, but it synergizes incredibly well with amulets, such as Gold Amulet, because it deals damage to the entire room. So we're going to put it at the higher end of good. Next up, we've got the Pac-Man Cheese from the Rat. This is going at the very high end of run winner. This, obviously, you can get it every single run by beating the Rat and getting all the keys. It turns you into an invincible Pac-Man that will kill any enemy in the game, apart from bosses, in 1 hit. It's absurdly overpowered. By far the most powerful item in the game. Probably will stick at the very high end of run winner. It's way too good. The cheese items annoy me to no end. They should not be obtainable every single run. But there you go, there we have it. Next up, we've got the pig. Again, another run winning item. We're going to put that probably, yeah, we're going to put it here. So this is now actually a passive full heal. When you die, the pig will sacrifice itself and heal you back to full. Yet again, a run winner. Giving yourself literally a second life, a second full set of hearts is absolutely amazing. Still got quite a lot of items to go through here. Next up, we've got the backup gun, a B tier item. This is one that I'm going to rank just okay, and it's going to be the lower end of just okay. I think the backup gun is really effective with some weapons. With most weapons, it does nothing. It does absolutely nothing. You very rarely want enemies behind you, so it very rarely hits anything. But with some weapons that like beams or things like that, or anything that bounces, can be really effective. But yeah, that's going in there. Next up, we've got the pink Guanstone, which is effectively one of these heart purses that is just better. So this is going to go on the lower end of good, because it gives you the heart upgrade, but it also gives you an orbital that's going to block bullets. It's really nice to have. Platinum Bullets is going all the way in S tier, as you guys might know. Definitely the lower end of S tier right now, but it's still incredible. Basically, for every kill that you get, it increases your fire rate. It's just, it becomes mental. It's very fun. It's really good to have. I think it also increases your damage as well. So normally, by the time you get to the end of your run, you've got insane fire rate and insane damage. And this does actually have the usefulness of, if you pick it up later, it equates how much damage and fire rate you should have got by now and gives you it, which is really nice. So it doesn't even matter if you get it late. Next up, we've got the portable table device, going in trash. Almost all the time, it's bad. It does help if you have table tech items, but a lot of the time you don't, because you don't want to be opening too many D tier chests anyways, and so usually it goes pretty much unused. Next up, we've got the portable turret. Portable turret got a pretty big buff in Farewell to Arms, making it have much more HP, have a much higher range, and fire faster. It's going to go in the lower end of just okay. I'm going to put it below the hearts, actually. It has a pretty good damage, but yeah, it's like, it does take up an active item slot. It comes from a B tier chest. It's kind of like, it's alright, but there's other things I'd rather have. Next, we've got the Poison Vial. Poison Vial is vial. I'm going to put this guy right at the end. Let's have a look. So that's going to go right at the end. 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 That is 2. That is 2. That's probably going to go higher up. That's going to... Yeah, that's probably right. So poison vial throws out some poison. It's garbage. Who wants that as an active item? It's terrible. It comes out of a D tier chest, but it's still garbage. Next up, we've got a Potion of Gun Friendship. C tier chest. Increases your knockback, increases your reload speed, increases your fire rate. Basically kind of an all stats up for a short amount of time. It's going in good. It's not quite a huge help because it does unfortunately increase your ammo consumption by quite a large margin. Gonna put that there. By quite a large margin, so you don't want to be using it too much. Ammo consumption can be annoying, and normally with some bosses, especially with better weapons, like higher tier weapons, higher damage, you're going to end up hitting the damage cap anyways, and that's going to kind of ruin the fun of it. Next up, we've got Potion of Lead Skin. Potion of Lead Skin's going on huge help, and it's going at the very top of huge help. An active item that makes you invincible for a short amount of time, and knocks back enemy bullets, and has an incredibly quick charge time, and not to mention, it comes from a D tier chest, so very, very good. Next up, Proximity Mine, another one of the worst items in the game. Comes from a D tier chest. Oh no, sorry, C tier. It comes from C tier, doesn't it? Can't remember, D tier or C tier. One of the two. Either way, it's terrible. Never use it, it's garbage. Next up, R2-G2. Now this is going to be surprising to some people. I'm putting that in the higher end of just okay. R2-G2, in my opinion, as a familiar, is not that good. Like, if he was a lower tier in-game, he'd be a lot better. But he's an S-tier item, and normally I find that he merely helps with damage. He very rarely kills things on his own, and it's just, yeah, he's not that good. If he was 1 tier lower, I'd definitely say he was, like, at least good. But I'm going to put him in just okay, because I find that a lot of the time he doesn't actually help as much as you think he would. Next up, we've got the Rat Boots. These are B tier. These allow you to run over gaps, and they do give you a pretty decent movement speed bonus. They're going to go in good. Whereabouts in good? Probably about here. Running over gaps is nice. Not super useful though, and the movement speed is nice as well. They're just kind of average. They're just good. Next up, we've got the badge. We've got the police officer. Now, this is kind of a double-edged sword, this is weird. So, the policeman himself, the familiar, I think is just okay. Yet again, doesn't deal very good damage. But we're going to put him in the lower end of good, because when he dies, you can talk to his body, gain 2.5 curse and 25% extra damage, which in my opinion is the best part about him. The little vengeance thing you can do when he dies. That's definitely the best part about the police officer, the badge. So we're going to put that in the lower end of good. Next up, we've got Ration. Ration, yet again, going on the lower end of Run Winner. For those of you that don't know, the Ration, for 1, heals 2 hearts, but for 2, if it is in your active item slot and you die with it in your active item slot, it is automatically activated and saves your life. Of course, that's brilliant. Basically, just gives you a second life. You don't even have to use it, so you don't even have to think about it. Just keep it in your active slot. But do be aware, if you have 2 active items, it has to be the one that's active when you die. It can't be just your second active item, but the other item you have is the one that you can see. It has to be the one that you can see, otherwise it won't work. Next up, we've got Dodge Roll Up. I think this is B. I hate this. I think it's bad. I think things that increase your dodge roll distance or speed in this game completely fuck with your memory of how to roll and your muscle memory of what's going on, and I hate it. I hate things that alter how fast I roll. I want to roll at the normal speed. I'm used to the normal speed. Don't take that away from me. Next up, we've got this Lodestone. The Lodestone is S tier, and it's going in S tier. With this, you get a very, very short amount of invincibility, pretty much, because it'll suck any bullet that comes near you in. But the better thing is every bullet it sucks up will be converted to ammo for the currently held weapon. Some weapons, that is amazing for. Like, a lot of your lower ammo weapons, you can fully refill in 1 usage of this item. And honestly, it doesn't take too long to charge up either. And it's just very effective against bosses and very effective at refilling ammo. Very nice indeed. Next up, we've got Remote Bullets. Remote Bullets, for PC, is a huge help. For console, it's just good. So we're just going to put it in the higher end of just good. On console, it becomes a little hard to use because it takes away any aim assist. But on PC, it basically is a massive accuracy upgrade. So, going to put it at the higher end of good because I don't want to sort of discriminate against one of the ways of playing the game. Because I do play on PC, but I do play with controller. Next up, we've got the Rat Sack Rack Pack Sack Rack. And we're going to probably put that at the topper tier of Huge help. Main thing is it gives you an extra 3 active item slots. That's a massive help. Other thing, when you roll over bullets, it collects them and you can fire them back as explosive cheese. That's kind of nice, but it's more the active item slots that makes it really good. Getting an extra 3 active item slots is insane. Next up, we've got Riddle of Lead. Riddle of Lead is another one that's going in Run Winner. When you pick it up, it gives you a full heal. The unfortunate thing about this is it only gives you the full heal when you pick it up. You can't choose when you get it. You don't get the full heal when you die. But it does give you a heart upgrade, it does give you some movement speed upgrade, and it does give you a 25 or 50, no, I think it's a 15% fire rate increase. Normally it's pretty good, and it can be a very big saving grace when you pick it up. So that's going in Run Winner as well. Next up, we've got the Ring of Chest Friendship. This is a C tier item that is going to increase the amount of chests you find. We're going to put this in the lower end of good because... Actually, no, I lied. We're going to put it in the higher end of just okay. Because... Not only is it only a chance to find extra chests, but sometimes you might not even have the keys to open them. And also, if you find it late on in a run, like in the Forge or the Hollow, you're not going to get that much usefulness out of it at all. So we're going to put it in just okay, but definitely the higher end. Ring of Chest Vampirism, that's going real low down here. Destroying a chest gives you half a heart back. You never want to be destroying chests, basically ever. Very, very, very bad. Ring of Ethereal Form, this is really good. It gives you flight, it gives you invincibility. It gives you the ability to steal. It's going to go in huge help. Really, really nice. An all-round brilliant active item. Very, very nice to have indeed. And I do believe it's only a B tier. So it being A tier is especially great. Next up, we've got the Ring of Fire Resistance. Again, this is going in trash tier. You can just roll to put out fire, so why would you need fire resistance? It just doesn't really make much sense to me. Normally pretty bad, especially considering it's a C tier. It really should be a D tier item. Next up, we've got the Ballistic Boots. Just a speed upgrade, just a straight up speed upgrade. I do quite like speed upgrades, so we're going to put this in good. Going to put it like here, yeah, about there. So speed upgrades, they're rather nice, but they're not run winning by any means. It's just nice to have. Next up, we have the literal worst item in the game. Never, ever, 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 ever pick this up. This is the Ring of Mimic Friendship. It is a D tier item, and it removes the chance of any mimics showing up. That is an incredibly bad thing. Chest mimics can be opened without the use of a key, and pedestal mimics and wall mimics drop items. You do not want to have no mimics. That is a very, very bad thing. It removes the amount of items you can get from the game by a decent margin. Do not ever take this. It is worthless. Next up, we've got the Ring of Miserly Protection. This is, again, a trash tier item because it gives you 2 full hearts, which are like, ooh, 2 full hearts, that's nice, especially for a B tier item. But you cannot buy from the shop, otherwise it will break, and you need to buy keys. Don't ever sacrifice buying a key to keep the Ring of Mimic Friendship or Ring of Miserly Protection alive. It is not worth it at all. The HP is nice for the time that you have it, but you're not going to have it for long, so don't count on it. Next up, we got the Rat Ring. Rat Ring is going to go in S tier as well. It gives you the chance once per floor to reroll an item. That is incredible. Basically what you do is, once per floor, you can leave an item on the floor, leave the room, walk back in, and the rat will replace that item with an item of the same type and tier. So if it's an active, it'll be another active of the same tier. If it's a gun, it'll be another gun of the same tier sort of thing. Very, very useful. And I don't know, because the wiki does not list it, but at one point, especially when it first came out, it did give you a free revive. If you died with this in your inventory, you would be brought back at 1 full heart of health. Now, I need to do some testing to see if that is still the case, but last time I used it, it was the case, but I haven't had this in a while, so don't hold me on that, as the wiki does not state that, but it did do that at one point. But even if it doesn't, it's still a run winner in my opinion. Being able to reroll items is great, and not to mention, if you go over to the bullet that can kill the past, and you're not planning on doing a past, go over to the blacksmith, ask her for the bullet that can kill the past, leave it on the floor, leave the room and come back in, and it will be replaced with an S tier passive item, and that can be clone, it can be Riddle of Lead, it can be platinum bullets, it can be Lich Eye, it can be loads of stuff. So you always get a free, as long as you're not doing a past, you always get a free S tier passive item when using this thing. So very, very good. Just be aware, you only get 1 reroll per floor, but if you don't use a reroll 1 floor, then you can actually save it up for the next floor and get 2 the next floor. Very, very useful, like it quite a lot. Next up, we've got the Ring of Triggers. This is situationally very, very good. But for the most part, I'm going to put it in the lower end of just okay, because it needs the right weapons to use. You need to have an active item, and then you need to have an active item with a quick charge. So in my opinion, most of the time you have this, it's not going to be useful, but sometimes it's going to be amazing. And I do believe this is A tier as well. I think it's A tier. So it's like, it's alright. Rocket-powered bullets, I believe, is C tier. Gives you faster bullets and a pretty decent damage upgrade. That's going to go all the way up here. Very, very good indeed. Rocket-powered bullets are great. Extra projectile speed is always nice. Next up, we've got roll bombs. Roll bombs are garbage. Put that there. When you roll, drops a bomb behind you. For a C tier item, I think it's terrible. You very, 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 very rarely get it to pay off. And yeah, I just don't like it. Next, we've got rolling eye. Similar situation. Rolling to enemies, it will knock their bullets back. Another C tier item that I think is absolute garbage. Very, very rarely does a lot of damage. Next up, we've got the ruby bracelet. Now, this is a difficult one because its default functionality, you throw a weapon, it explodes. That's by far going at the lower end of D tier here. Putting it there. But when you upgrade it and take it to the blacksmith, it does become a lot better in the fact that rolling into enemies insta-kills them. But because that is a requirement, I'm still going to put it in pure trash, but it's going to go higher up in pure trash. Because... no, we'll put it low down in bad. We'll put it low down in bad, because it's actually quite easy to get to the blacksmith, but the requirement is just silly. I don't like that, so we're going to put it low down. Next up, we've got Scattershot. In my opinion, an absolute huge help. Most of the time, you want this. It did used to be the case that getting this actually lowered your overall damage, but now it doesn't. They buffed it with Fail to Arms. Even if you only hit 2 of the 3 shots, you're still dealing more damage than you would have done normally, or at least equal to the same amount, so very nice. And also, it's incredibly fun to be firing 3 shots with every shot. I absolutely love Scattershot every time it comes up. I think it's an absolutely brilliant bullet modifier. Next up, we've got Scope. Scope is actually going to go a little bit above the laser sight because it's a lower tier at D and does almost the exact same thing. Its accuracy upgrade is a little weaker, but not by much. It's not very noticeable, so there you go. Next up, we've got the Ballot, which is a straight up 3 coolness increase. This is going to go higher up in C tier. I think it's just okay because the coolness up is nice. It does increase your room drops, but the main thing about coolness is quicker active item cooldown, and sometimes you don't even have an active item when you get this, and this does come from a B tier chest, so it's just alright. It's just alright. Next up, we've got +1 bullets, straight up 25% damage upgrade from a blue chest, from B tier chest. Absolute huge help. I think it's pretty damn good. I'm going to put it here, actually. Very, very good indeed. I really, really, really like +1 bullets. Next up, we've got the Scouter. Scouter, in my opinion, is bad. I think it's a B tier item. Gives all enemies health bars and gives you damage numbers when you hit them, and it gives you 1 curse. In my opinion, that's not worth anything for 1 curse. It's just meh. It's just so meh. I really, really don't. I don't dislike having it, but it doesn't affect your run in a positive way really at all. Seeing how much health enemies have really doesn't help you that much. Next up, we've got the Sense of Direction. This will show you the way to the boss. It is only useful with Ring of Triggers or on bullet hell, so it's going in the lower end of bad. The fact that it's useful on bullet hell, of course, makes it a little higher. Next up, we've got 7-leaf clover. 7-leaf clover, again, is very dependent on what floor you get it on, so it can't be all the way at the highest end of a run winner, but I think it's going to go lower down in run winner, because if you get it early enough, it makes all chests red and black for the rest of the run. That can get you a lot more of these items. Meaning more run wins, you know what I mean. It's going to be good. Next up, we've got Shadow Bullets. Shadow Bullets gives you a random chance to fire an extra shot with your shots. I'm going to put that on the higher end of good. It's not the best, but it is quite a big help. Actually, am I going to put it up here? I'm going to put it there. Yeah, it's a little bit better than rocket powered bullets, but let's switch these around. There you go. I think that's about right. Yeah. So it's pretty decent from a B tier chest. I quite like it, but the fact that it's like a random chance to fire an extra bullet isn't the best. Next up, we've got Shadow Clone. Shadow Clone, in my opinion, is a huge help. It's a D tier item which creates a clone of yourself with your gun and fires it at whatever you're firing at, and it moves in sort of a complete reverse pattern of how you're moving. And you can use these as many times as you want. Like, So it obviously has a normal cooldown, but the cooldown's very, very short, especially if you have coolness, and you can have more than one clone active at once. I think you can have up to 4 clones active at once if you're fighting a boss, which is the only time you're really going to get that many clones, but it's very, very useful in my opinion. I think that makes it really, really, really good. Definitely a huge help considering it's a DT item. Next up, we've got the Skeleton Key. Skeleton Key, we're going to put up on the very highest end of huge help. Now, it does give you, I think, 3 casts, either 2.5 or 3, and it gives you infinite keys. You can open any lock for free. Very, very nice, but not quite a run winner, because again, if you get it too late into a run, it's not going to be as useful. And there's things like the Mimic Tooth Necklace, which is a lower tier, A tier, which does basically the same thing and gives you another bonus. So we're going to put it in the highest end of huge help. It on its own cannot win you a run though, because you might get bad chests still, so it's going to go higher up. Shield of the Maiden, C tier item. It's going pretty low down there. Activate it, it gives you like invulnerability, but you can't shoot or move. I don't like the idea of that at all. Just dodge roll out the way or move out the way. It's just, no. It takes up an active item slot too. Next up, we've got Bounty Bullets. I think these are really fun, but in terms of usefulness, they're on the lower end of good. Sometimes it doesn't really pay off, and bounced bullets do less damage anyways. It really depends on the items you got. Paired with things like Scatter Shot and like rocket-powered bullets, it can be amazing. But honestly, for the most part, it doesn't actually help you too much. So we're just going to put it in the lower end of good. Next up, we've got 2 speed upgrades here. We've got Shotgun Cola and Shotgun Coffee. Both of these are going to go on the... where's Ballistic Boots? Whereabouts did I put Ballistic Boots here? There you go. So both these are going to go here, in my opinion. They're just weaker versions of Ballistic Boots. So they'll all 3 of them go in a row. Next, we've got Battery Bullets. Battery Bullets is really, really good. We're going to put that on the very highest end of good. Battery Bullets is a massive, massive accuracy upgrade, along with a pretty decent immunity to electricity, which is really nice. Where's our other accuracy upgrade? No, we'll put it just a little bit ahead of Muscle Relaxant then, shall we? And it is a starting item with a Robot too. I think it's pretty damn good. Next up, we've got Silver Bullets. Silver Bullets, in my opinion, is another huge help item. I'm going to put it at the really high end of huge help. 25% extra damage to bosses as a whole, so basically the same effectiveness as the Andromeda Strain. And like 900% extra damage or whatever it is. It's a crazy high extra percent. I think it's 375% actually against jammed enemies. Meaning jammed enemies, all they do is double damage. Their health doesn't change at all anymore. Really, really, really good. I really like using these. I think they're very, very fun. Next up, we've got the Singularity. Singularity has some oddities about it. I'm going to put it in lower end of good yet again. I'm going to put it like... let's have a look. Like here. So using it will drag all bullets and enemies into the Singularity. But if you fire an explosion at an enemy and the enemy's caught in the Singularity, such as a boss, it unfortunately knocks the Singularity about. The Singularity has physics, and that to me makes it bad. So I like, if you're using explosive weapons, it really doesn't do that well. But normally it's pretty useful, and it allows you to keep relatively safe. Next up, we've got the 6th chamber. Is this 6th chamber? Yeah, it is, isn't it? This is the one that makes it so that every time you get cash, you also get 1 coolness. Now, this is just okay. It's probably the higher end of just okay. We'll put it like here. Because, unfortunately, you do have to have cares for it to be effective. And you have to have a lot of cares for it to be really effective. And then you have to have an active item to make the coolness really worth it. So, yeah, that's going to go at, like, the sort of higher end of just okay. Next up, we've got Smoke Bombs. Going to go that with the lower end of just okay. Probably put it like here. Yeah, like there. So, it allows you to steal. Very, very nice. But unfortunately, takes up an active item slot, so can't be ranked too high. The ability to steal with not much else usefulness isn't really that good. Depending on what's in the shop, that is. Next up, we've got Snow Bullets. Snow Ballets, should I say. When a bullet travels, the further it travels, the more damage it gets. Can be very, very useful with bounty bullets or high-range things. Really, really good with orbital bullets. My god, it's really fun with orbital bullets. On average, though, I'm going to say it's like... let's have a look. It's like here, I think. It's about there in good, because it does give you a damage increase off of the base. Like, even if you just short range hit an enemy, it's still a damage increase. And obviously, long range hit's going to be even more of a damage increase. It's just nice to have, considering it's from a B tier chest. I'm saying it's B tier. Next up, we've got Space Friend. Space Friend is just okay. It does alright damage. It's going to go same as R2-G2 here. Does alright damage. Comes from a B tier chest yet again. And yeah, the damage is okay. Its fire rate is a little slow. It has some synergies that make it really good, but On average, I'd say it's just alright. Just alright. Next up, we've got spice. Spice, obviously, a very dangerous thing. I don't remember the tier of spice. I think it's A tier, like as is. But yeah, I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna put it in bad. Now, I'm gonna need to explain myself. Let's put it on the higher end of bad, shall we? I'm gonna explain myself here. I think it's in the higher end of bad because yes, it gives you 2 HP upgrades on your first 2 uses, but it also gives you chaos on each use. And yes, it does increase your damage on subsequent uses after that. But it increases your chance of finding spice, basically decreasing your chances of finding any other item, and it makes your run more risky. If you're a person that likes risk and likes to play on the harder side of games, spice is really fun. I enjoy it a lot. But for those of you that are trying to win, just not a good idea. Not a good idea at all, in my opinion. Next up, we've got the sponge. Gonna basically do the same job as the hazmat suit, but to a less effective degree. Most of the time, I think this is just okay. Again, lower end of just okay as well. It mops things up, but sometimes that's a bad thing. Like, sometimes it mops up the stuff that you've lain down, so it's like, eh. We'll put it a little bit higher up, actually. We'll put it, like, here, but it's not that good. Another thing about the sponge, if you have the sponge and meet Mr. Goopentine, or whatever his name is, and the guy that speaks the weird language, you can actually understand him if you're holding the sponge. It translates everything he's saying. Very strange effect, but it does that. Next, we've got the spring heel boots, allows you to dodge roll twice. Now, in my original ranking, I put this quite low, but people told me that they really, really like it, and because other people said that they like it a lot more than I do, I'm going to take that on board and I'm going to rank it higher. So I would normally rank this in bad. I tend to not like the ability to dodge roll twice, it doesn't help me that much, but we're going to rank it in the higher end of just okay, because people made it clear to me that they quite liked it. Let's put it like there. Okay, that seems good. I'll put it in front of Junkin, actually, and the iron coin, and there you go. There you go. So people made it clear to me they like this a lot more than I do, and they find it a lot more useful than I do. So there you go. I'm going to put that there. Next, we've got Sprun. Gives you the Wind Gunner, an incredibly powerful gun. Incredibly powerful. But its trigger is changed on each run. Its trigger can be anything from flipping a table to taking damage to falling in a pit to being set on fire. Now, depending on its trigger, this can be one of the best or worst items to have. It is an A tier item, but the fact that its trigger is randomized each time puts it in just okay. Now, if you get a trigger such as set yourself on fire or flip a table, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You can trigger it all the time, constantly. But if you get one that's like take damage or fall into a pit, then you basically can't trigger it. Like, it's not in your control. It just happens when it happens, and that's awful. It ends up being a waste of a perfectly good A tier item, but like I said, it has the chance to be really good, but because of its only chance to be really good, I'm putting it in just okay. Definitely the higher end though. Battle standard, we're going to put this in bad, and I'm probably put it at the higher end of bad, actually. Really, really helps with familiars, increase their damage by 8%, same with charmed enemies, but you're not always going to have familiars or charmed enemies. Saying that, it does increase your chance of finding familiars from chests. It is a D tier item, but it can have some really good usefulness if you get it early enough. Next up, we've got Stout Bullets. I love Stout Bullets. They're going straight up in huge help, probably about here. I think it's a 35% damage increase when you're close up to enemies. In my opinion, that's really, really good for a DT item. One of my favourites. Makes it easier to hit enemies because your bullets get bigger as well. Next up, we've got Stuff Star. More invincibility. That's going to go sort of on par with Persian Lead Skin. It's going to be a little bit behind Persian Lead Skin, like maybe like here, because it's a higher tier at being a B tier. And I believe the effectiveness isn't quite as good because it doesn't knock enemies back, and it takes a lot longer to charge, but it's still a nice item. Next up, we've got the sunglasses. I don't like these at all. In my opinion, they're trash. They do increase coolness though, so you can't be completely trash, but when an explosion happens, it slows down time. Yet another one of those things where it ruins your muscle memory, makes it harder to just play normally. Really don't like those in my opinion, but it does give you 2 coolness, which does make them just bad, not pure trash. Next up, we've got the little time watch, little super hot watch. Ooh, where's it gonna go? Where's it gonna go? Where's it? Nope, it's trash. It's trash. I hate it. It's awful. I hate it. It's the worst thing ever. This is the ultimate muscle memory killer. It fucks you up so much. If you want to play the game at 0.2 speed and take 4 hours to complete a run, yes, this item's great. It can allow you to do that, and it can allow you to never be hit by a bullet, because you can just slow down time and walk around every single bullet in the game. But for one, that is boring as shit. No one wants to do that. And for two, if you're playing normally, there are plenty of times where you stand still. And standing still stops time. So you can't do things, so you can't reload. You can't, like, shoot while you're stood still. You have to be constantly moving. I hate it. It completely ruins how you would normally play. And to top it all off, it's S tier. It's S tier. It's going all the way at the bottom of trash tier. I would rather have the proximity mine. No lie. That thing is garbage. I watched someone else's tier list and this was an S tier and I was like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Next up we got my boy Super Space Turtle. He's obviously all the way at the top of Run Winner. Done. Tier list over. Nah, joking. This guy's going decently high up. In fact, I think he's better than R2G2 on average in terms of damage, and he's a lower tier item, so he's a bit easier to get. We're going to put him just above the badge, in my opinion, just above the badge. Like, yeah, we'll go with there. I think he's pretty damn good. He's a nice little help, runs around shooting people, can skate around everywhere. Quite nice. Next up, we've got the supply drop. Starting item of Marine. Drops in a singular ammo drop. We're going to put it on the lower end of bad, because it takes up an active item slot, which you don't really want. But in a pinch, that extra ammo can be very, very, very useful. Next, we're on to the table text. Before we do the table text, just to make sure they're all in a row, I'm going to do the big boy. Big boy, in my opinion, is a huge help. We're going to put it like... Let's put it like here. Okay, so big boy, less poison, which is annoying if you don't have poison immunity, but almost every room you can use it on, it clears out a room. It's only a B tier item as well. Does crazy damage, and it charges very, very quickly. Definitely a huge help in my opinion. Big boy's getting up there. Now, all of the table techs. So, let's start off with the ones we know are pure trash. Table tech heat, pure trash. Table tech money, pure trash. Table tech rocket, pure trash. There you go. Them three are always pure trash. We're going to put them in the correct spot though. Let's put that one there. That one in front of that one, and that one behind that one. There you go. Next up, we've got Table Tech Blank, which in my opinion is pretty damn good. We're going to put it on the lower end of good because you do need tables to activate it. But being able to blank on a table usage, especially if you have amulets, very, very useful. Table Tech Rage, in my opinion, is on the same tier, but able to get double damage just from flipping a table. Very, very nice. Table Tech Shotgun, that's bad. Most of the time the shotguns, even though they home, don't hit, and they aren't that useful. But it does do a bit of extra damage. Table Tech Sight, that's going to go on the lower end of just okay. It gives you the ability to fire triple shot and slows down time. The slowing down time thing is the thing I don't like about it. If it just did the triple shot thing, I'd quite like it. But we're going to put it on kind of midway in here. There you go, like that. Then Table Tech Stun. Table Tech Stun is kind of on the same par as this. It's pretty good, kind of like Table Tech Blank, quite like it. Definitely going to go on the lower end of good. Next up, we've got the Teleporter Prototype. Teleporter Prototype is... It's bad. It's not quite pure trash, because they did change it to whenever you teleport to a room, it instantly kills one enemy. But for the most part, it's not going to be that useful. And it is, I believe, A tier? Is it A tier? It's either A tier or B tier. Either way, it's pretty bad. The teleporting isn't that useful unless you're speedrunning. I've got the 4th place in the world for speedrunning Enter the Gungeon, and I got it using Teleporter Prototype. They're very good for that. Next, we got the Admit 1 Gun Show. This spawns the Gatling Gull as a familiar. Very, very good. Very good indeed. We're going to put it the very high end of good, because spawning it in, you can use it on bosses, really good. You can use it as normal room clearing, and it has a pretty decent charge time. Most of the time, that's going to be a really nice help. Next up, we've got the Lockpicks. Lockpicks, I'm going to put in bad. Most of the time when you get the lockpicks, it's a 50-50 chance, obviously, so you might fail. The fact that if you fail it, it locks the chest and you can never get back into it is pretty bad. I mean, you are only going to use this if you don't have keys, so that's why it's in bad but not terrible, like not pure trash. But, yeah, it's not that good. Most of the time, you're not going to want that on anyone other than the pilot. Next up, we've got the Turkey. Turkey is going all the way near the top of good, because basically this gives you, we'll put it there. Yeah, this basically gives you 1/3 extra ammo on every single gun you have, because the way that it works is when you hit an enemy, well, on 3 consecutive hits, you get 1 ammo back. So as long as you're hitting the enemies, you've basically got a third extra ammo on every gun you have. That's really good. These turtles, these my boys. These are my boys. But, they're really bad. They don't really do anything in game. They just wander around and chase you. The one caveat, the one reason they're not pure trash is they deal insane contact damage. If you get like 10 of these bad boys and an enemy runs into them, they die immediately. But for the most part, they just wander around doing not much. They do block bullets, however, though. But most of the time they're behind you, so that doesn't really help. So there you go. They're going in bad. Sorry, little turtle buddies. In my eyes, you are S tier, but not everyone will think so. Next up, we've got Unity. Gain 2% of the damage of all of your other guns added onto your currently held gun. Really, really, really good. But it depends on what you currently have. So we're putting that in the lower end of good because you have to have good guns and you have to have a lot of guns to make it work. If you get it late on and you don't have that many guns, or you just get it and you don't have many guns that have high damage, it's not going to be that useful. But say you've got the RC rocket, the AU gun, the Stinger, it's going to be fucking brilliant. So it's very, very sort of like hearsay. It's not great, but it's alright. We're going to put this at the higher end of the speed upgrades because it's exactly the same as all the other speed upgrades, but it gives you a piece of armor. So a little bit of an extra bonus there. Very nice. Next up, we've got the uranium amulet. Have we done the amulets yet? Have we done any of the... We only did the lowstone, didn't we? So you get an extra blank per floor. All blank effects poison or have a chance to poison every enemy in the current room you are in. So that's going to go on the lower end, again, of good. A lot of things in good right now. A lot of things in good. Actually, I say a lower end. We're going to put it a little bit higher up because that extra blanket is very nice. We'll put it like here. Next up, we got the utility belt, an extra active item slot, and extra ammo capacity. And I can't remember its magazine size as well. I think it's just extra ammo capacity. But very, very good. Quite like it. We're going to put it not quite as good as the backpack, you may think, but it still adds an active item slot. It's because the backpack isn't B tier, whereas this is. That thing is just too good. Right, so we're going to put it at the higher end of here. There you go. Depends on how early you get it to how good the active item slot is. But the extra 20% to magazine capacity, ammo capacity is really good. Vorpal bullets, that's going to go in bad. Sorry, Vorpal bullets, but the chance of your effect to happen is too low, and you have to have lots and lots of coolness to make it trigger the critical chance. I think considering the chest that it's from, being B tier, it's just, it's not that good. Next up, we've got Flight. Flight is really, really nice. We're going to put that pretty much exactly where the hazmat suit is, although a little bit higher because it does the exact same thing, but you can hover over gaps. So I think Flight's really, really good. Next up, we got the Weird Egg. Weird Egg is S tier yet again. So we're going to put that there. An active item on use fully heals you. It is a D tier. I'm going to put it higher then. It's a D tier. D tier. Think of that. A full heal that is D tier. It's really good. Really, really good. And it's pretty common as well. It does have some other uses like spawning the Advanced Dragon Serpent thing. And also if you throw it on the ground and shoot it, it has the chance to give you a gun. But don't ever use it for them things. It is a full heal. It is amazing. Really, really good. Easily S tier. Now we have the Clear Gunstone. Clear Gunstone is just going to give you an extra blank. So we're going to put it just below the Lodestone Amulet because it does the exact same thing without the knockback. But the extra blank per floor and the orbital is nice. Next up, we've got the Wingman. Another B tier familiar. Fires out rockets. Bit better than the space one, but not that much better. We're going to put it there. Going to put it there. It's just okay. It's just a help. It's not bad to have, but it's certainly not going to help too much. Next up, we've got the Wolf. This is yet another similar situation. We've got a lot of familiars and just okay, because they are. They hop around, they help out. I believe, again, this guy's B tier. He hops around, he bites things, but it's never insane damage. He normally can't kill things on his own, so it's not that good. Next, we've got the Yellow Chamber. Yellow Chamber's going in huge help, and it's going quite high up in huge help. 2 full heart containers, a little bit of curse, and increased fire rate. And it kills, in fact, it's going to go higher up. It kills 1 enemy per room immediately for you. And not only does it kill them, for the entire length of the room, they are, for a familiar. They're basically a charmed on a companion for you. So, very, very, very good. Yellow Chamber's great for an A tier item. It's great. I think it's A tier. Is it S tier? I'm pretty sure it's A tier. Might be S tier. Either way, I stick with my tier. Even if it's S tier, I stick with my tier. Zombie bullets, pretty trash. Missed the bullets, I return to you. Just don't miss, mate. Just get good. Just don't miss. There you go. That's easy as. I think that's B tier. Sorry, C tier. But yeah, zombie bullets aren't that good. Blank bullets, however. Blank bullets, in my opinion, are some run-winning bullet modifiers. Bullets on impact have a chance to blank. Synergizes incredibly well with any of the amulets. It's awesome, especially if you get Gold Amulet, which deals 60 damage to the entire room. Very, very good. Even without amulets, it's a very good item anyways. Really, really like it. Next up, we've got the Blank Companion's Ring. Blank Companion's Ring, it's bad, in my opinion, because you have to have an active item for it to work. It's an A tier item, and it only activates the blank on killing an enemy. Sorry, killing enemy. What am I talking about? I was just listening to the music and it got me distracted. Not killing enemy, on using your active item. If you have an active item that has a rather long cooldown, then that's just not going to cut it. It's not going to work. It's not going to help you. So unfortunately, it goes low down in bad. I don't want that from my A tier chests. Next up, we've got the Blast Helmet. You got smaller explosions, contact immunity, and increased dodge roll damage. The contact immunity is the best part about this, but even then, it's just going to go in just okay. So we're going to put it right next to the Armor of Thorns. It's a little bit worse than the Armor of Thorns, though. Next up, with the Blood Brooch. Every 1,200 damage dealt, you will be healed for half a heart, and it is an A tier item. This one is very weird. So 1,200 damage when you're just on 0 case, and you just got normal guns, is really hard to deal. But when you've got a lot of chaos and a lot of jammed enemies, enemies take a lot longer to kill. Meaning you're dealing more damage, meaning you get much more healing. Now this does increase your chaos as well, but because it can work really well in some situations, it's going to go on the higher end of just okay. Probably the highest end of just okay. Got some very good scenarios. Next up, now this I do realise, this is by the way B tier, I do realise that this is good on PC. It's okay on PC because you can teleport around, but it changes a fundamental part of the game. It changes your dodge roll to a blink. I don't like it at all. Don't like it at all. We're going to put it on the higher end of pure trash. In my opinion, on a controller, one of the worst items in the game, if not the worst, but because it's good on PC, I'm going to put it in pure trash, because I still think it's not that good on PC. It's just, like, usable on PC. I still think you don't want to swap out your dodge roll, so I'm keeping it in pure trash. Next up, we've got the Bloody 9mm. Bloody 9mm would be good if it fired the bullet alongside your normal shot from your gun, but because the Bloody 9mm shot can replace your current weapon, so say you fire the RC rocket, sometimes it'll just fire a Bloody 9mm bullet rather than an RC rocket. That can be very annoying. So for a, believe, B tier weapon, I'm going to go in the higher end of just okay, but it can be really annoying with some lower magazine weapons, especially when the item's very valuable. Next up, we've got Aged Bell. Is Aged Bell S tier? Not S tier, sorry, A tier. I think it's A tier. Freezes every enemy in the room for a pretty long period of time, including bosses. We're going to put it rather high up on the B tier there. Probably going to put it about here. By the way, where I'm placing things in order to everything else is a little bit random now. I'm trying still to stick to my sort of semi-tiered way of doing it, but it's a little bit more random and a little bit more sporadic because we've just got so many items. I can't filter through every single thing each time, otherwise this video will go on for 3 hours. But either way, we've got the Aged Bell there. I think it's pretty good. I think it definitely helps out. It is an active item, so you'll get one of those unless you've got certain items that give you an extra slot. But normally, if you get it, you're going to be pretty happy with it. Next up, we've got Bloody Valkyrie. It's called Bloody Eye, isn't it? Sorry. That one's called Liquid Valkyrie. These are on the same tier, exactly the same. Slows down enemy bullets, basically the exact same thing. I think one is 5% stronger than the other. Can't remember which way around it is. They're basically exactly the same. They stick right next to each other. This thing, pure trash. When you get hit, it slows down time, and then as it's like after a certain amount of time of slowed down time, it speeds it back up again. Horrible. It gets you hit so often. I really don't like it, and it's an on-hit effect, which no one wants. On-hit effects are bad, so we're going to put it like there. Not very good at all. Next up, we've got the bomb. The bomb is going on the very lower end of just okay. D tier active item, but it can open up secret room walls without the use of a blank, which is rather nice, just like the little bomber. So it's nice to have. It's just an offhand. Next up, we have the Bucket Chest Anatomy. Bucket Chest Anatomy is going right down here yet again. Destroying chests gives you better rewards. Most of the time when you're destroying chests, you want junk, so getting better rewards is a bad thing. So, yeah, honestly, removes the chance of getting junken. You shouldn't be destroying chests anyways unless you have junken already. It's just not a good idea. Or unless you have no keys, obviously. Boomerang. This is going to be a surprise, people. Boomerang's going to be a huge help. People underrate this thing massively. You throw it and it stuns basically everything in the room. Really, really, really quick charge time. And it's incredibly effective in bullet hell. I do realize it doesn't work against bosses, but most of the time this thing's a huge help. People massively underrate that thing. Bottle going in trash tier. By the way, we have a lot in trash tier today. I knew we would, but bottle allows you to traverse floors with hearts in it and ammo in it. Not that useful. Most of the time you'll just find the health or ammo you need. Next up, oh wait. I very much apologise, people. This is shock rounds, not bouncy bullets. Shock rounds is actually a little lower because normally it's not that effective, and it is, I believe, A tier. This is bouncy bullets. Bouncy bullets goes here. I apologise. I get them too confused all the time. I bet someone was shouting at me when I did that. Do not worry, I fixed it. It's fine. Next up, we've got the box. Box is basically just the ability to steal. You get on shooting while in the box, so that shot does double damage. That's not very good though. We're going to put it right next to smoke bombs. It's about as effective as that. Same stealing. It is A tier. Not A. Yeah, it is A tier actually. So it's going to go lower actually. It's going to go lower. It's going to go right at the bottom of just okay because it is A tier. Shouldn't be. Next, we've got the bracket key. Bracket key is S tier, does damage to the entire room, got relatively quick charge, and not only does it deal damage to the entire room, it stops any further waves spawning. So if it's a 3-wave room and you use it on the first wave, none of the other waves will be able to spawn. That makes it very, very good. I'm going to put it in huge help, right near the bottom of huge help. Not quite as good as the big boy, but yeah, huge help. Probably put it about there. There you go. Next, we've got Brick of Cash. With Brick of Cash, you're going to be able to see secret rooms. And I believe it's B tier. For the most part, seeing secret rooms you don't really need. It's more intuition than anything. So we're going to put it at the lower end of just okay. Put it like here. We've got the airstrike next. This is a little bit better than the napalm strike, but it's still pretty bad. A big sort of line of explosives is nice, but it's not going to kill too many things. It's got a rather long cooldown. It takes up an active item slot. For the most part, you don't really want it. Briefcase full of cash. This is a weird one. So we're going to put this in the lower end of good. It gives you, I think, 350 casings and a few hegemony credits. The casings are really nice if you're low on casings and if you get it early on, which is why I've put it in good and not higher. But the weird thing about this is you can pick it up, gain the casings, and then sell the item to a sell creep, and you won't lose the money, and you'll get quite a lot of casings for selling it. So in fact, it's worth about 420 casings rather than 350. It's pretty cool that way. I can't remember what tier it is. I think it's actually A tier, isn't it? Something like that. It's good, though. It's good. Definitely nice to have. Broccoli, a 10% chance to negate any hits and a 10% damage increase. It is an S tier item. We're going to put that in, like... Let's have a look. Like... About here. It's good. The 10% damage negation thing's cool, but I don't think I've ever seen it happen. And the extra damage is, of course, nice. But unfortunately for an S tier item, it just doesn't quite cut the cheese. Next we've got Bug Boots. Poison immunity. It's nice. When you roll, you leave a trail of poison. Leaving a trail of poison is okay. This is a C tier item, of course, so I think I'm going to put it straight up in C tier. Probably put it with like the sponge. There you go. The rolling poison trail usually isn't that helpful. Poison immunity can be nice though. It's all right. I think if you just got something like the gas mask, which just gives you poison immunity like this, it's definitely lower, like pure trash. But it does give you another little ability, so we'll put it at just okay. Or shall we? Or shall we? I'm thinking. I'm actually gonna put it in bad. I'm going to put it in bad. It's only C tier, I know, but it's just, yeah. If it gave you a speed upgrade, it'd be a little bit high, but it doesn't, so... Yeah, I changed my mind quite rapidly about that, but there you go. That's my final decision. Next up, we've got Bullet Idol. Bullet Idol's just okay. Now, that's definitely just okay. When you take a hit, you deal damage to the entire room. The damage is substantial. It's rather nice, but you have to take damage to trigger it, which makes it just okay. Next up, we've got the ability to stop time. As I mentioned earlier, the ability to stop time is not that good. We're going to put that in bad. Activate it, you get a brief time stop, but it's the transition between time, not time stop, sorry, time slowdown and the time speeding back up to regular speed. It really screws up your muscle memory and can kind of fuck you over. So I tend to rank that a little lower. Bum bullets is good. It basically just gives you a passive bit of extra damage because it fires bees out of your gun. Going to put that in the higher tier of good, above some of the other bullet modifiers. Not quite above helix bullets, but yeah, going to put that in the higher end of good. Next I've got the C4, yet another absolute trash item, pretty much on the same tier as I-Bomb Companion App and Proximity Mine. Comes from a C tier chest? No, it comes from a D tier chest, but it is really, really useless. It's really hard to use, and it doesn't do that much damage at all. And I believe you can self-damage with it as well, which is really annoying, so not that good at all. Cartographer's Ring, random chance to map out a floor. The fact that it's a random chance, in my opinion, it ranks it pretty much exactly where the map is, because you might not get any chances to map out the floor, and you might get it so late that it doesn't happen ever, or you might only get one floor and it doesn't really matter. In my opinion, mapping isn't that useful unless you're specifically looking for secret rooms, so Cartographer's Ring isn't that good. Cat Bullet Furun, on dodge rolling, you fire out some bullets and you gain flight. It's basically just the wings, but better, so we're going to put it just a little bit above those. The extra bullets are nice. They don't normally deal a lot of damage, but they're okay. This is going to go below our other ability to steal here. Just okay. You only get 3 uses, so pretty bad, but it does just give you the ability to steal. It's a little bit higher tier than this as well, so we're definitely going to put it lower. But I would rather have the ability to steal than a heart upgrade, so definitely mid-tier, just okay. Next up, we've got Alpha Bullets. The first shot of a magazine does more damage. Exactly the same as a Mega Bullets. Works the exact same way, but the opposite. So we're going to put it exactly where a Mega Bullets is, wherever we put that. I can't remember. Where's the Mega Bullets? There they are. I'm going to put them a little lower than a Mega Bullets because I find that the last shot is normally a bit better than the first shot. But, and I believe a Mega Bullets is a higher damage upgrade, so I think that's like 100%, that's like 80%. I might be the wrong way around with that, but there you go. We're going to put them that way around. Next up, we've got Chance Bullets. Now, this is a weird one, and I do want to do a bit of a shouting out here. So, Chance Bullets gives you a chance to fire a bullet from one of your other held weapons out of your current weapon, and it replaces the projectile. So, say you have like the charge shot. You go to fire a charge shot, but in your backpack you have an RC rocket, and it'll switch out that charge shot for an RC rocket, which is really nice. But it could also switch that charge shot out for something from your MAC-10, one single bullet from a MAC-10 or a sawn-off shotgun. So it's really good, but it replaces the bullet of the gun fired, which makes it bad. And it also fires bad guns as well as your good guns, so it's not that great. So the in-game version that exists right now is just okay. Mid-tier, just okay. Just a bit higher than all the health upgrades. I'm probably going to put it about here. But I do want to shout out, Abe Clancy has a mod on the modding page called The Hollowed. That mod has a number of things in it, but a few of the things are fixes to certain items in the game. One of them is Devolver Bullets, the other one is Chance Bullets. It makes Chance Bullets, instead of replacing the bullet fired, it adds an additional bullet. So you still fire the original shot from the gun you're holding, but in addition to that, you also fire the other gun. That makes Chance Bullets infinitely better, and they definitely go in huge help if that's how they work in the game, and that's how they should work in the game. Because it means that using things like the RC rocket, you don't accidentally fire out one MAC-10 shot rather than a missile, because that's horrible. So yeah, definitely go check that mod out if you're playing on PC. Go get Mod the Gungeon and set that up. A really useful mod to have. Fixes that item, makes it a lot better. Next up, we've got the Chaos Amulet. So this is basically kind of in the same ballpark as the other amulets, but we're going to put it higher because it can trigger any of the amulet's effects. It's not that much higher, honestly. We're probably going to put it like here. But yeah, it's really nice to be able to trigger it, and of course you get an extra blank per floor, which is really nice. Next up, we have Chaos Bullets. Chaos Bullets, in my opinion, are pretty high up in good. Probably going to put it as really high up in good. About there. Gives the chance to fire any variety of any of the bullet modifiers in the game. So any bullet modifier you can see, apart from I think scatter shot and helix bullets, it can fire all of them. So it can fire like a stout bullet shot, it can fire a hot lead shot and a radiated lead shot, all that sort of stuff. Normally that's pretty helpful, especially with fast firing weapons. I do believe it's A tier, but I think it belongs in the higher end of the B tier. It's pretty good. Next up we've got the Charm Horn. Charm Horn is on the higher end of stealing. It is reusable, which is really nice. We're going to put it in good, actually. Age Bell allows you to steal as well. I forgot to mention that when I was ranking that. We're going to put it a bit higher than the Age Bell. So, obviously, a nice rechargeable way to steal. Very fast charge, and it charms enemies in a radius. It can charm every single room. It charges that quickly, so you can get quite a lot of enemies charmed. It's actually pretty useful. Quite like it. And next up, we've actually got Charming Rounds. Charming Rounds is a lot lower than the Charm Horn because it's a lot harder to use, even though the Charm Horn does take up an active item slot. It's still good though, but just like low-end good, I think. Charm doesn't usually help that much. It only usually helps on big enemies, and especially it has to be like the first shot. Normally end up killing the enemy before you even realise it's charmed. But yeah, it's alright. In fact, I'm going to put it at the lower end, sorry, the higher end of just okay rather than in good, because, yeah, sometimes you end up killing the charmed enemies by accident anyways, and it doesn't really work out. But there you go, that's kind of where that goes for me. Next up, we've got Chest Teleporter. Now, this is another item fixed by Hollowed mod by Abe Clancy. So this is a lot of bugs in the main game, and it's actually quite bad. I'm going to put it in the lower end of just okay. In Abe Clancy's mod, it gets fixed and made a lot better. Highly recommend it. I'd definitely be putting it in the higher end of good there, but otherwise it goes in there. It is a B tier item. Teleports chest to the next floor, has a very small chance of upgrading that chest. Meh. Usually not that useful. Next up, we've got Chicken Flute. Chicken Flute is really good. Really good. So this is one of the better familiars. When you have it, your little chicken follows you around, blocks bullets. Every bullet that hits the enemy builds up a damage threshold, and once you finally hit that damage threshold, a bunch of chickens come out and attack anything on the screen. The damage of the chickens is pretty high, and the cooldown on like how quickly it can do its thing, do its rage mode, is actually pretty fast. It can do it quite a lot, and usually is quite helpful. Also, the chicken's like hitbox is big enough for you to be able to hide behind in things like the dragon fight, so very nice indeed. Next up, we've got Cigarettes. This is a difficult one because you have to hurt yourself for 1 half heart, but you gain 1 coolness from it. That can ball out of control. I think I'm going to put that in the higher end of good because it is D tier, meaning it's easy to get, but you do have to lose health. But if you're carrying it and you get extra HP from your boss that's lying on the floor, or just extra HP from room clears, then you can basically turn that into free coolness without losing any HP. Very nice. High coolness, of course, translates into a lot of good stuff. Next up, we got this, which is Poison Immunity and an Orbital. That's going on the higher end of bad. Poison Immunity is not that useful, and all you really get from it is like an Orbital, really. The Poison Immunity doesn't matter too much, so that's going to go on the higher end. Definitely better than the Bug Boots, but yeah, it's like, Clone, obviously. Obviously, Clone's going pretty high up here. I'm going to put Clone like just above the full heals, because basically it's a full heal with the ability to replay an entire run. It's really fun to have, which is one great thing about it, but it's also pretty much a run winner because it means you get double the amount of items. It does mean, however, you're going to have to spend twice as long playing the game, which some people don't always have time for, but yeah, very good item. Definitely go in the S tier. We're getting down to it now. We're almost done with our tier list. Almost done. Next up, we've got 20% extra ammo capacity. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible. We're going to put it in the higher end of just okay. We're probably going to put it like here. There you go. That's a D tier item. I'm never unhappy when I see that. Chloranthy Ring. This is going on the same tier as the orange Guanstone here. Red Guanstone, sorry. It's a dodge roll-up. I don't like dodge roll-ups. They mess up my my ability to dodge properly because it messes up my timing. I really don't like it. And I do believe it's B. No, I think it's B tier. So yeah, that's going to go in bad, unfortunately, for that thing. Next up, we've got the Clown Mask. This is entirely dependent on if you have other payday items, and if the first payday guy you get, the little familiar, is the one that does blanks, then yes, this is really good. Because it's RNG based, we're going to put it on the lower end of good. It'd be at the high end of good if you knew what you were going to get. Let's put it just above Super Space Turtle, I think. I think on average, the followers you get are usually pretty good. The Shotgun guy is really good. The Taser guy is okay, but the Blank guy is definitely the best. And if you have other payday items, you can get all 3 of them, which is nice, but you're not always going to get them, even if it does increase the chances of you finding them. Next up, we've got Cluster Mine. Yet another one of these, like, trash tier items that are just sitting down here. I think it's, again, a C tier or D tier. It can do self-damage. It does no damage to bosses. It's really hard to use. I don't like it whatsoever. It's pretty damn terrible. Next up, we got Cog of Battle. Cog of Battle, very good. It's a B tier item. If you reload, there's a little bar in your reload. If you manage to strike reload again at the same time as the bar, then you get a pretty nice pretty nice damage boost for the next magazine, and that can work really well with some guns. And normally it's pretty easy to hit that, so we're gonna put that like, yeah, we'll put it like here. I think that's really good. As long as you can hit that reload, very nice. Next up, we've got the Coin Crown. Coin Crown, in my opinion, is actually bad. It's a B tier item, but the amount of money you get from it normally isn't that much. It normally doesn't help too much at all, really, and I never really notice even having it. So it is a nice synergy enabler, which is one good thing about it, but I don't think that can really, for me at least, I don't think that can merit it as good enough to be higher than just bad. Next up, we've got the Copper Amulet. This is going exactly the same place as the Uranium Amulet, which is there. So we're going to put that right next to that. Does the same thing, but sets things on fire. Next up, we've got the Crisis Stone, an S tier item that when you fully empty a magazine, you get invincibility for the length of your reload. Very nice with long reload weapons, but for the most part, the reloads just aren't long enough to be good, and considering it's an S tier item, we're going to put it a little bit lower down on the list there. I think actually most of the heart upgrades are going to be better than it, so we're going to put that there. Wait a minute, these items need to go in front of this. There you go, like that. Yeah. Next up, we've got Crutch, which is basically better homing bullets. Bullets will curve towards enemies, so let's find out where we've got homing bullets, and I'm just going to put that in front of that. It does almost the exact same thing. I believe it's in the same tier, and it just does it a little bit better, in my opinion, so Crutch is going to be quite nice there. Curse bullets, in my opinion, are a huge help. A 10% damage upgrade for every level of curse you have. Bear in mind, this is B tier. Broccoli is S tier, and that gives a 10% damage upgrade. With just one curse that you gain from picking up the item, you are getting the same damage bonus as an S tier item, and that can scale infinitely with however much curse you have. An absolute belter. In fact, I'm going to put it at the very, very top of huge help. It is so good. It does add risk to your run, but even just carrying 3 curse, which isn't even that risky, is a massive bonus in damage. Absolutely love that. Next up, we've got Daruma. Yet again, another huge help. An active item in which whenever you roll, you get the chance to blank. And I say whenever, because even though it is an active item and it does need to charge, its charge is like so quick. Killing 2 enemies recharges it. And it can trigger amulet effects, meaning you can do damage with it too. I actually did an entire run only using Daruma for damage a while back on my Advanced Dungeons & Dragons series, so you might want to go watch that. Daruma, very, very useful. Very, very, very defensive. It's nice. Ammo synthesizer, one of the worst synthesizers, if not the worst. Definitely going in pure trash. Very, very, very rarely notice it giving me any ammo whatsoever. Don't really like it. And it is a D tier item, so it belongs in pure trash. There you go. We've got the decoy next, giving you the ability to steal. Similar to these two, but also giving you an actual decoy to distract enemies. Enemies will target it until it is destroyed. Usually it lasts a decent amount of time and can stop you from taking too much damage. We're going to put it in the lower end of good. Very low end of good there. Next we've got the Devolver Bullets. These used to be really bad until the way that devolving worked got changed. Now it just changes enemies into arrowkin rather than devolving them into their previous form, which was the terrible way of doing it. So now they're definitely a lot better, but they're still just okay. We're going to put them like here, yeah. About mid-tier in just okay. It's nice to devolve enemies into arrowkins because they are easier to fight, but it always depends on when they devolve and what enemy you devolve. If you devolve a really big enemy on the first shot, it's beautiful, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Next up, we've got Disarm Personality. Basically just a shop discount. Most of the time I wouldn't be that happy about seeing that, but I am going to rank it higher than the Iron Coin because even though the shop discount is slightly less, it isn't an active item, so it's nice to have. Next we've got the Tennis Ball. This is the dog. S tier, run winner, best thing in the game. The dog is the best. You can pet it, so it's run winner. Bye guys, done. Tier list over. No, I'm joking. What should we rank this as actually? So it has a random chance to dig up consumables. Considering it's a completely random chance, we're going to put it on the low end of just okay. I do like having the dog, and it can definitely help out in giving you some keys and things like that, but a lot of the time it's not actually going to garner you that much success, and it's going to just sit there and allow you to pet it, which is obviously great, but other than that, I'm going to take some more of my drink. Next up, we've got Double Vision, a D tier active item that allows you to fire double the amount of shots. This is going in S tier. You may be thinking, what the hell? Does double shots really give you S tier? Because it's D tier, so it's easy enough to get, and because its charge time is incredibly quick, even quicker with coolness, you can basically have double shots up for basically like 60% of the rooms you fight and almost all of your boss fights, if not the entirety of every boss fight. So very, very, very good. Really like it. I think it massively helps out. Next up, we've got the Drill, which is the exact same as the skeleton key, but it doesn't give you any curse. It counts as a payday item, so it has a higher chance of spawning other payday items. It is a D tier item, and yeah, it just is so much better than the skeleton key, and it's not S tier, so it's like, yeah. So this is going in run winner. You do have to fight a wave of enemies when you open a chest with this thing, but normally the wave of enemies is pretty easy. And if you use it on anything that isn't a chest, like a lock to the grate, to the oubliette, or a locked shop, not shop, I don't have a locked shop, but you know what I mean, any other locked door, it opens it instantly without having to fight any enemies. We're going to put that, like there. And that's really, really good. Just infinite keys. Awesome. There's a D tier. That's really good. Drum mag. Increase your magazine size by like 35%, I think it is. Something like that. Normally not that great, but it is nice to have. We're going to put that in the higher end. Well, mid tier, just okay. That's pretty good. I think it is a B tier item. No, I think it's a... Yeah, B tier item. I think it's a B tier item. Pretty good. Pretty good. Next up, we've got duct tape. As you guys know, the duct tape can be so good. We're going to put this in huge help. Pretty high up in huge help as well. I'm just going to put it a little bit below these. Yeah, I'll put it below these two there. So basically, you tape two guns together, make them both fire at the same time, and it combines their ammo pools. Depending on the guns that you have, depends on how good this is, but most of the time, it's going to be a massive help no matter what. And it usually ends up turning one of your favourite guns into an even better gun. Next up, we've got easy reload bullets. Easy reload bullets, I'm going to put in bad. Works really well in specific situations with like the rad gun or any gun like the combined rifle. Anything that has like a final powerful shot works really well with them. Otherwise, not that good. Going to definitely go in bad. Next, we've got the Elder Blank. A reusable blank active item. Does give 1 curse. It is B tier as well. Gonna put this in huge help, just at the lower end though, because reusable blanks, very nice, really helpful on bosses. Lodestone Amulet, a D tier item that stops damage on falling into pits. We're going to put that at the lower end of bad. It is not useful very much at all, but I have had a no damage run saved by Lodestone Amulet, and I've never saved myself from dying, but I've definitely saved a lot of damage over the years from Lodestone Amulet, so I can't exactly call it bad. Enraging Photo belongs in the same tier. On getting hit for a brief amount of time after, you get double damage. It's really nice when you can actually use it, but it requires you to get hit, so unfortunately it's sticking in the bad tier. Next we've got the escape rope, the speed runner's dream. It is the best item you can possibly get on a speedrun, but we aren't ranking for speedruns right now. This is going in pure trash right here. Teleports you to the shop on use. Why would you need that? Like, just walk there. You're going to clear all the rooms anyways. Next up, we've got the same thing as the decoy, but this is the explosive decoy. So whenever we find where the decoy is, I'm going to put that just a little bit higher than the normal decoy, because it is going to deal more damage whenever it gets destroyed, which is very nice indeed. I do quite like the decoy as is. Next up, and also it also gives you the ability to steal as well, exactly the same as the decoy. Next up, we've got explosive shot. Explosive shot is getting put in huge help easily here. Massive damage increase on your shot. It's going to put it like here. Is of course a random chance to fire the explosive shots. It doesn't make every single shot explosive, but I still think it's a pretty big damage upgrade bullet modifier, so I really like it. Next up, we've got the eye patch. Now, this is actually going to be a little bit controversial here, but I'm going to put this in pure trash. It's the highest end of pure trash, but the way that eye patch works is, for one, it's A tier. It will give you a 30% damage increase or a 25% damage increase, but it doubles your spread. Now, the way that spread works in this game is, say you're using a sniper. Snipers have incredibly low spread, so doubling the spread does basically nothing. But for something like a shotgun or like the AK that has kind of high spread, it doubles that to make them almost useless and makes some of the highest spread weapons in the game basically the worst thing ever. If it just increased your spread by like a few, that'd be absolutely fine. Because it doubles it, no. Do not like. Very bad. Definitely the higher end of pure trash, but still, for an A tier item, pure trash. Next up, we got fat bullets. Increased bullet size, increased damage by like 25%. By the way, these percents are kind of off the top of my head. I can't remember the exact percents. And lowers your magazine capacity, your maximum ammo by 10%. So I'm going to put it in like just below. It is A tier as well, I believe, but I'm going to put it just below literally trigger finger. The damage increase is nice, and the increased shot size is also nice, but the fact that you lose some ammo for it lowers it down a little bit. Next, we've got flak bullets. Now, flak bullets, for me, I love them, but I think they give you the perception that they're better than they are. Normally, the actual damage increase you get from flak bullets is kind of negligible. You don't really notice it too much. They're just fun because it fires more bullets and it looks cool. But I think we're going to put it in the lower end of good, even so, because I do think it does help sometimes. And for its tier, which is B, I think, pretty decent. Next up, we've got this thing. I can never remember what this is called. I can't remember what this is called at all. Basically, what this does is it's a B tier active item. When you use it, it makes all bullets curve around you, but do not be fooled. Bullets can still hit you in this mode. You are not invincible whatsoever. So, this is going in just okay. I'm going to put it with... Actually, it's going to be kind of high up in just okay. Let's put it like there. It is nice, but the fact that you can still be hit even though it's activated, it is rare, but it can happen, means it's a bit lower. Next, we've got Frost Amulet. This is going to be the same as the other amulets, but definitely higher than the other two, because being able to freeze enemies is really, really nice. Next up, we've got Frost Bullets. Frost Bullets is kind of a better version of Irradiated Lead and Hot Lead, so we're going to put that like... here. I think being able to freeze things is really nice. Go, there you go. I think being able to freeze things is really nice, but it doesn't really increase your damage too much. It just makes shooting things a little more safe, and I believe it's A tier, so yeah, gonna put it up there. It's rather nice. I like having it. Next up, we have yet another Run Winner. So it's going to go on the lower end of Run Winner, but this increases all of your maximum ammo on all of your guns by 4 times, meaning you can have an insane amount of ammo. Obviously, that doesn't mean it's unlimited, and if you do have an item before you pick up this bandana, you will need to get an ammo pickup to fill it to the new full ammo. But even still, very, very good. Really, really nice. And basically, it means that whatever gun you find to be your favourite in that run, you can just use forever. Full Metal Jacket. This is a weird one. It does make you a lot safer. It automatically uses your blanks for you. But the problem with that is normally everyone saves their blanks until the boss, and this forces you to just use them whenever you get hit. I would much rather take damage on normal enemies than use my blanks on the boss, and you can't really do that with this. And so because it ruins that, it's definitely going to go lower down here. We're probably going to put it about there. Seems alright, but the fact that you can lose flawlesses because it can use your blanks early is really a big problem with it, and that kind of ruins it. Next, we've got the Galactic Medal of Valor. I believe this increases boss damage and increases reload speed. So this is basically going to be... I think it's 1 tier higher than the Oiled Cylinder, but I'm just going to put it 1 higher than the Oiled Cylinder anyways. It's like the Oiled Cylinder with a little bit extra, and I quite like that. So very nice indeed. Gas Mask is going to go basically right next to the Ring of Fire Resistance. Yet another D tier. It just gives you poison resistance. No one really wants it. It's like there's plenty of other poison resist items in the game that do more than just that. So we're going to go with that. Next we got Ghost Bullets. Bullets pass through enemies. That's rather nice. But with some guns, especially explosive guns, makes them like not really work properly. So it's going to go on the lower end of good. Probably going to put it just a little bit above flak bullets. There you go. Actually, no, we're going to let's switch a few of these around. Let's put the decoys there like that, and the flak bullet there, and Unity in front of them. There you go. There you go. Switch those around a little bit, just because I think these should be at the bottom. Switch those around. There you go. Sorry about that. But yeah, there you go. So Ghost Bullets, it's nice, but it does kind of ruin some guns in the game. And most of the time, piercing doesn't actually help that much, because once a bullet pierces, it loses a lot of damage. So it's okay, but it doesn't help too much. Gilded Bullets, however, really, really good. The more money you have, the more damage you do. If you get up to 500 casings, you get the maximum bonus. Most of the time, you're going to have some semblance of a bonus, so I think that's going to go right below Bum Bullets there. Bullet modifiers kind of sit in the same tier here, but yeah, Gilded Bullets is really, really nice. Next we've got Gold Amulet, the best amulet there is when taking damage, like while you've got armor or while you've got Holy Grail. I didn't even mention Holy Grail constantly gives you the armor blank effect when you get hit, but when using a blank or taking armor damage or taking damage when you have Holy Grail, does 60 damage to the entire room, works with the owl and the little mafia guy from what's it called, from the Mask. Really, really good. So it's definitely going to be the highest ranked amulet. We're probably going to put it a bit above Chaos Amulet right there. Very, very good indeed. Next up we've got Gold Junk. As it is incredibly, incredibly rare, so it has to be lowered down to a different tier, but it does give you 500 casings on picking it up. We're going to put it in the lowest end of just okay, just because of how rare it is. It's completely random, but it's really nice if you do get it, but its rarity definitely lowers it down. Next, we've got the Grappling Hook. Grappling Hook's really good. It gives you the ability to stun enemies, it gives you the ability to steal, it gives you the ability to move around a lot faster, and it is only D tier. We're going to put it in good. We're going to put it like... like there. There you go. It's good. It's definitely good for stunning things. It gets underused. Doesn't really... People don't use it for stunning enemies enough. They really should. This got lowered down from S tier to A tier. Gives you a random chance to heal. Definitely better. But again, if you're at full health, healing isn't that useful. So we're going to put it right next to the heart synthesizer. Although I'm going to make it a little better than the heart synthesizer because this will only heal you if you don't get hit on rooms, whereas this will just heal you anyways. But still not that good. Gun Soul is, in my opinion, pretty much pure trash, but it does give you a heart increase. We're going to put it on the lower end of just okay. Basically, it gives you plus 1 HP, and when you die, you get revived at 1 HP at the start of the floor. All enemies are respawned, and you only have your pistol. If you can make it back to your body, you get to be revived at full health. But I have never once made the Gun Soul work, ever. So, yeah. Definitely not a great thing, but the plus 1 heart does make it just okay. In fact, it makes it better than all of the other heart upgrades, so we'll put it higher than them. Not higher than that one, though. So, yeah, I'm going to put it there, just okay, not bad. And then our last item is Angry Bullets. Now, Angry Bullets I really like. When you shoot a bullet at an enemy, that bullet can then bounce off and hit another enemy, but it makes explosive weapons incredibly hard to use because the explosion doesn't happen at the base enemy, and it really fucks them up and it makes them not work properly. So we're going to put it at the higher end of bullet modifiers of just okay, and there you go. So, that is our tier list for every item in the game. We actually managed to keep it at exactly 2 hours. I did a little bit of planning on this one to make sure I knew where some items were going to go already, whereas the gun one, I went in and kind of did it a little slower. I hope this didn't feel too rushed for you guys. It didn't feel too... like I was ranking things too quickly. I felt like with most items I at least went over my explanation well enough, even if it was a little quicker than normal. And yeah, like I said, I hope it wasn't too fast paced. I hope you guys did enjoy nonetheless. Please do join the Discord and give me your tier lists. There'll be a link to this tier list that you can make yourself in the description, and you can try it out and link me what you guys have made and what you guys think. And yeah, I might be doing one more tier list as a surprise soon. I will see how that one goes. Do not hold me to that. But there may be some surprise one coming at some point, maybe next week, depending on if I can get it together. We'll have to have a see. Either way, any of you that aren't subscribed already, please do subscribe. This was a lot of effort went into this. I've pretty much been working on this all day. And yeah, please do join the Discord and check out the rest of my channel. I've got a lot of Enter the Gungeon content. So those of you that are already subbed, thank you for sticking around and enjoying this content. I know that you guys have been asking for this for a while, especially since the gun one. Everyone has been really waiting for this. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tier list, and I hope you guys kind of agree. Please do leave me any arguments or disagreements or anything, any questions you have about my reasonings, any reason you disagree with my reasonings. I really want to read what you guys think. Please do debate in the comment section. It's really enjoyable to read and see what other people think. I like to get the perspective of other Gungeon players, especially those of you that are more or less experienced. It's really nice to see everyone's side of the story and see what people think. Every player with every different play style and different amount of time has a different ranking for different items, so it's going to be really nice to see what people think. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one.